Soccer League playoffs. The cheers were rewarded early when Dennis Stewart scored against the Tulsa Roughnecks. Tulsa had upset the Cosmos in their first game, but not this time. This was Marino making it 2-0. The third goal wrapped it up to tie the series at a game apiece. Stewart to Canaglia this time, and so they went to another shorter game to decide the issue. Still, the Cosmos were unstoppable. Watch now as Bogicevic sets up Canaglia for another score, and Giorgio putting it in the net. Then it was the swift Portuguese star, Sininho, scoring on this solo run. And finally, Canaglia making it 3-0 again on this penalty kick. The final score of the decider was 3-1. So Canaglia and company moved on to the conference finals at Vancouver last Wednesday night. But this time, the Vancouver Whitecaps had the momentum. Alan Ball lofting a beautiful cross to Willie Johnston for the first score. It was the third game in a row this year that Vancouver had beaten New York, 6 out of 7 in their total series. Nobody else has that record against the champions. And then it was Ball again, passing forward to Trevor Whitemark, and Whitemark scoring. But was he offside when the ball was passed to him? Well, the Cosmos thought so, but the referee didn't. Certainly, as you'll see, it was a close call either way. Were the two Cosmos between Whitemark and the goal line when the ball was passed to him, or not? Well, this much is certain. The Cosmos and their coach were furious, but Vancouver had won 2-0, and New York would again have to win it all in one day. It'll happen this afternoon on their home field, and when the day is done, either Vancouver or New York will have earned their way to the Soccer Bowl. Saturday weekend is a big one for sports in the metropolitan New York area. The National Tennis Championships continue. There's horse racing at Belmont Park. Tomorrow the New York Jets open their home season in the National Football League. But it may well be that the biggest crowd of the day has gathered right here as you watch live at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. They've come to watch their New York Cosmos with their backs to the wall against the Vancouver Whitecaps in the playoffs of the North American Soccer League. Hello, I'm Jim McKay, and what the Cosmos must do here today is very simple. They must win 2 games in one afternoon. They had the same situation last week, and it's because of the playoff structure in the NASL. It's a home-and-home series. Vancouver won on Wednesday night in Vancouver. Now the Cosmos must win a regular game, and if they do that, then win a shorter 30-minute decider game to move on to next week's Soccer Bowl. This game, of course, is for the National Conference Championship of the North American Soccer League. It's a fascinating confrontation here and a very tense one. Here we have one team from the East Coast, one from the West Coast, one team from the United States, the other from Canada. The players of the Cosmos are a composition of many nationalities. As for the Whitecaps, it's very different. Everyone on their starting team is either British or Canadian. The styles also differ, with Vancouver playing a very English brand of football, which is physical and close marking. The Cosmos more on the artistic side. That contrast in styles may have led to some of the bad blood between the teams. When they played here earlier this season, in fact, the game erupted in a near riot that went on for some 8 minutes. On Wednesday night, it looked like the physical side was going to be fended off until there were only 8 seconds left to play in the game. And at that point, it was Eskandarian right here, who had been red carded out of the earlier game in Giant Stadium, who couldn't resist with 8 seconds to go, taking a shot at Kevin Hector in the white, the star of the Vancouver team. Down went Hector, red card came out, Eskandarian was out of the game. But not only that, he has also been ruled ineligible for today's game under the league rules. After the game was over, there was another incident. On the way to the dressing room, allegedly, Carlos Alberto, the defender of the Cosmos, former captain of the Brazilian World Cup team, one of the most famous players of his time, allegedly threw his shirt at an official and also allegedly spat at the man. Well, yesterday afternoon, the commissioner of the league, Phil Woosnam, suspended Carlos Alberto for the rest of the season, which means that even if the Cosmos win today and go to the Soccer Bowl, he'll be ineligible for that game. There's been a lot of controversy about it, obviously. We have the commissioner with us right now. Phil, thank you for coming here, first of all. Can you tell us briefly what is it that you ruled in this case and why?
Well, yesterday morning when I was in San Diego, I had the reports of the 3 game officials read to me by our Director of Officials, Keith Walker. There was certain information missing at that time, and I made an arrangement to speak again with the league office that afternoon, yesterday afternoon. And from all the information we'd gathered, we then made the decision that Carlos would be suspended for the remainder of the season.
The Cosmos have said that they are going to file suit on the basis that you made your ruling before all the facts were in, that you did it before the referee's report came in.
No, not before the referee's report came in. They were read to me yesterday, and it was only late yesterday afternoon, about 4 o'clock, in fact, that we made a decision. We conveyed that decision to the Cosmos, and then we took an additional amount of time because some consideration was given as to whether or not we should have a special hearing this morning. In the end, the Cosmos decided that they'd prefer not to do that.
All right, well, let's hear from the other side. In fairness, obviously, Ahmet Erdogan is the president of the New York Cosmos. Ahmet, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I tell you, I think that we have a great deal of respect for the commissioner. He's taken his time in making his decisions in the past. I think he acted hastily in this matter. I think that basically the commissioner has lived in this country long enough to know that part of the American system is that a man is entitled to a fair hearing before he's judged. And there are some occurrences which the commissioner still is looking at, which are a month old. And I think that this, we haven't been able to reach him for the last 2 or 3 days until last night, at which time he said he'd already made up his mind. So he'd made up his mind prior to any, as a matter, he must have made up his mind before, because the New York paper ran the story that before we knew about it, it appeared in the New York Post, that it had been heard from some high league sources that Carlos Alberto was going to be suspended. And I think it's unfortunate, but look, we don't have any sour grapes. We lost that last game, and we lost it. We lost it with good or bad officiating. The fact that it was bad officiating doesn't mean that we would have won it. And we've got a new day and a new game, and the Cosmos are ready to go out and play, and that we're ready to go out and win.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmet. I'm sure Phil would have more to say about that, and you would have more to say about that. We don't have the time, however. The ball game, of course, is the thing that we came here to see today. It should really be something. We're coming right back, and remember, we're live from Giant Stadium in New Jersey. The kickoff at Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the National Conference Final, North American Soccer League, the Vancouver Whitecaps against the New York Cosmos. I'm Jim McKay, and this, of course, is by now, I think you know, is our resident expert on the sport of soccer, Paul Gardner. Paul, I talked about the contrasting styles of these teams, and obviously we talked about the bad blood between them. Do you think there's a connection between those two things?
There's a very definite connection. There is a difference between what I would call the English, the physical style, if you like, and the more artistic style that a lot of the Cosmos players have. Now, this didn't start with the Whitecaps and the Cosmos. It's been going on for years in soccer between these two styles. It leads to, is a culture gap. It leads to misunderstandings. A hard tackle by the English style players will be interpreted by the artistic style players as a foul, and if it's not called, they get annoyed. A bit of ball protection in the artistic sense by those players is interpreted as obstruction by the hard physical players, and if that's not called, they get annoyed. So clearly, in this game, the referee, Toros Kabrichin, is going to play an absolutely key role here. He must cut down any of this misunderstanding right from the start. And another thing, it's not a clear-cut dividing line. I mean, I'm talking about artistic players. The Cosmos have two players who are back today who didn't play in Vancouver.
Right.
Wim Rijsbergen and Johan Neeskens, Dutchmen, hard players. I mean, Wim Rijsbergen is certainly a strong tackler, and Neeskens can throw himself about when he wants to, too.
Neeskens, by the way, has been named the most valuable player on the Cosmos this year. As for Vancouver, they're physically fit, fitter than they've been all year long. Everybody will be starting for them. It's almost time for the kickoff in New Jersey.
Here's what Roden...
The crowd is in place. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful afternoon as we're ready now for this National Conference Final of the North American Soccer League between the Whitecaps and the Cosmos. Here are the Whitecaps of Vancouver. In the goal, leading goalkeeper in the league, Phil Parks. And on the defense, Buzz Parsons. He's a Canadian. Number 7. Number 4, John Craven, the captain of the Whitecaps, back after injuries. Roger Kenyon, number 6, has also been out with injuries, but he's ready. Bob Leonard-Ducey is another Canadian, one of the original members of this team. Carl Valentine is a 21-year-old Englishman and a good one. Here's one of the great players of our time, Alan Ball in the midfield. Ray Lewington, another young player from across the sea. Trevor Plymark, number 9, will be at 1 forward. 11 is Kevin Hector. King Kevin, they call him back in Britain. Willie Johnston from Scotland, number 20, is a forward. Here is the technical director. That's the equivalent of coach of the Cosmos, Julio Mazet. And his starting lineup, Hubert Birkenmeyer, a German in the goal. He came to the team late this season. Nelson Moraes, a veteran and a canny one from Brazil. Here is one of the great players of the game, Franz Beckenbauer. Wim Rijsbergen, back from an injury on the defense in the middle. And Marinho from Brazil. He's a defender, but he can score. He loves to. Ricky Davis, the young American at age 20, has made his way here. Bogey, they call this man, at midfield. And Neeskens, most valuable player on the team from the Netherlands. Up front, Dennis Stewart. Well, he's playing midfield today, actually, number 7. And in the front, Sininho, the Portuguese star, number 11. And the great Giorgio Chinaglia, number 9. There's the banner. Go, go, Cosmos. The crowd is with the home team with a vengeance. Well, this we haven't seen before in the North American Soccer League. The crowd cheering, chanting, and clapping before even the opening kickoff has taken place. It will be the Cosmos in white, Vancouver in blue. The Cosmos kicking off in the game, and we're underway. This is Jim McKay in the booth with Paul Gardner. Vern Lundquist is down on the sidelines, and we'll be going to him from time to time. And so the Cosmos start the first attack of the afternoon. Beckenbauer, he's the field general. Getting into the middle to Bogey, who feeds for goals many times. Bogovic, leader in the league in assists. And we've got a foul call.
Foul called very quickly and immediately by the referee there. Carl Valentine upending Johan Neeskens. A dangerous position for a free kick.
All right, that's Bogicevic, number 8. But we have Marino to the side of him. He could come in and take the kick. A dangerous place for Vancouver very early, and what the Cosmos need is an early goal. Remember, they must win 2 games here today. There is the defensive wall set up, and it's Marino kicking it right into the middle of the wall. But the Cosmos get possession again. Bogey, look how he can keep possession of that ball, until suddenly it was stolen away by Kevin Hector. Here comes Sanino. He likes solo runs, does his Portuguese star. Scored last week on one, but it's knocked aside by Bob Lenarduzzi, the young Canadian.
Of course, Sanino really likes a little more room than that. It's his speed that's his strong point. He really likes yards to run into.
Cosmos still on the attack. Sanino moving it over to Nelson Morais, the defender, up there now. There's Ricky Davis, the young American, to Morais again, but intercepted nicely by Carl Valentine, the 21-year-old Britisher. Passing it to Hector. There's Kevin Hector. They said he was called King Kevin in England for many years, and he's called that out in Vancouver right now. Number 20, Willie Johnston, getting it across now to Alan Ball. Here's Alan Ball, who should be a key man in the game, number 23. But that one didn't work out. The throw in for the Cosmos, since the other team put it across the sideline. Sanino now by himself. He's got Canalia down in the middle, but only Canalia. Over to Giorgio it goes. A beautiful pass. Going forward, aim for Stewart. Not quite. Just knocked aside.
Very nearly,
by John Craven.
Very nearly. There were only inches in that, and Stewart was certainly in scot-free if he got that ball from Canalia. Just intercepted by Craven.
Wow. They're going to react here today.
Absolute crescendo of boos for that back pass to the goalkeeper. Now, Phil Parkes will get booed, I think, throughout this game, because they remember him from the previous game when he indulged in a lot of blatant time wasting, and he really antagonized the entire crowd here in that game.
All right, Vancouver has only touched the ball really in a defensive way so far. Down goes Nelson Morais, and he may have done a couple extra rolls there.
I think he did a couple of extra rolls. Kevin Hector hooked his foot round, and he certainly got it on the ball, but Morais tripped over the ball more than anything.
That was Stewart starting in very swiftly. Back to Marino, now to Stewart again in the corner. He's got Canalia in the middle along with Bogicevic, but Bogey hardly ever scores. Doesn't even seem to like to shoot.
Signs of great pressure from the Cosmos in the opening of this game here.
All right, that was Alan Ball going over the end line. There's going to be a corner kick for the Cosmos. I have a feeling that again today we have a good many people who haven't watched this game before. A corner kick is awarded when the defensive team puts the ball over the end line. Offensive team takes the corner kick. It can be scored from. There's Marino with a shot. And it looked like Parkes almost was screened from that ball for a moment.
Well, Marino was in the middle of a crowd there. He swung his leg. I think he hit another knee with his leg. He's clutching his left knee as he got up there, but he seems to be all right now.
Only complaint against Marino, since he's a defenseman, is that he spends so much of his time on the offense. And yet, he's very good at it.
This afternoon, I think that's probably exactly what's required here.
Yep. Look out, there's Bogey. Almost. Look out, he's still got a shot. Nope, not quite.
Rather bad error by Roger Kenyon there. That ball came through and it bounced. Roger Kenyon jumped up for it and it bounced over his head. Signs of nerves, I think, in the Vancouver defense. And of course, this tremendous noise that this crowd is making is bound to have an effect on these players.
No question of it. The home field advantage, very important in soccer. That was Alan Ball trying to get loose, but he didn't. The foul called, though.
Fouled by Neeskens as he ran for the ball.
Intercepted, stolen away by Nelson Morais. Now Beckenbauer, who's playing at sweeper on the defense today. He normally plays at midfield for the Cosmos. Moved across the sidelines. Not too accurate, but Sanino gets it into play. There it is to Dennis Stewart. Gee, they are passing that ball swiftly and accurately so far.
I spoke to Sanino before the game, and I think he feels he has a point to prove in this game, because he was taken out of the game in Vancouver when he felt he was doing very well, and he was very annoyed at being taken out.
Oh,
well,
talk about physical. Was that a legitimate shoulder charge as you're allowed to in this game, or was it?
It was just about as illegitimate as you can get. It was just a plain, straightforward, crude shove from Ricebergen, free kick to Vancouver.
And there again, the free kick. That's what you'll see awarded here today. For any of the fouls in this game, a free kick at the spot of the foul is what happens, unless it's in the penalty area, in which case there's a penalty kick. Sanino now. Over to Stewart. Dennis Stewart. Beautiful handler of the ball. And now Beckenbauer, who led Germany to the World Cup in 1974. Over to Nelson Moraes, who played with Brazil when they won the World Cup. That was aimed for Marinho, but no. Alan Ball now. Buzz Parsons, young Canadian, number 7. It's Vancouver in the blue. The New York Cosmos in the white. No score, and we have 39.5 minutes left in the first half. It'll be continuous action, and again, it's the Cosmos.
Well, referee waving that on. That was a pretty solid thump, again from Reisberg and into the back of Kevin Hector. A foul, I would have thought.
Bogicevic to Beckenbauer, the field general. He aims it for Kanaya quickly, but it went past. Does it seem to you that Giorgio is playing out from his normal place right in the middle a little more?
No, I think he's stationed himself in the middle, and he's stayed there pretty much up to now. I think what the Cosmos have to do, they're setting a hectic pace, but of course there's always a problem with a hectic pace. It gets a little too hectic and the ball control goes awry. It needs to be slowed down, just like Bogey's doing now, so you can wait and see where you're putting the ball. Look at that.
Okay, that was Naskins, and now to Naskins again. He heads it again. Kicked away, and I think that's over the end line. Looks like a corner kick.
Roger Kenyon again showing signs of panic. A completely unnecessary corner given away there. He just swung his leg at the ball, and he didn't even kick it properly. It spun away over the goal line.
And here is Marinho, the blonde Brazilian, with the corner kick. He's got Naskins in the middle, and Naskins slightly got ahead on it. Ricky Davis with the shot.
Good defensive work there by Vancouver. You notice when Parks went down for that ball, standing on the post behind him on the goal line was Alan Ball. If he'd misplayed that ball, Alan Ball would have got it. But take a look at Ricky Davis's shot. Here's Ricky Davis trapping the ball, a left-footed shot. Now see, on the goalpost, clutching the goalpost, Alan Ball right behind Phil Parks to cover him should he miss the ball.
All right, Vancouver has yet to mount an offensive threat. This could be it. Nope, kicked away. Nothing on the offense so far for the blue team. There's Dennis Stewart with it. He's a magician. In towards Kanaya. Kanaya all by himself moves it back to Sanino. This could lead to something. Sanino has got Kanaya in the middle. Here comes Stewart again. Here's Sanino with the ball. He could get a shot. No, back out to Stewart. Kanaya still in the middle, waiting for it. Ricky Davis on the right flank now, the midfielder. Back out to Moraes. Towards Kanaya. Across him to Naskins. Marinho with the ball. The Cosmos not wanting to give it up. They want that quick early goal. They almost have to have it. Now to Davis, the American. We saw him score his first goal here earlier in the season, the first of his career. He scored a good many since. He's really made a place for himself among this team of international stars. The Portuguese now to the German Beckenbauer. Into Naskins, the Dutchman. And now Vancouver with the ball. So, a lot of action here, but no scores for the Cosmos. It's still 0-0, 36 minutes and 45 seconds left in the first half. Remember, if the Cosmos win this regulation game, they'll go to another 30-minute game to decide the issue between these two teams as to who will go into the soccer bowl in this stadium next week. Stewart loses the ball.
Stewart hanging on to the ball a little too long, and he had a player coming in from behind him who he'd made a violent swerve to avoid, but he ran into the player in front of him.
Okay, a quick pass forward to Trevor Weimark. Weimark all by himself all of a sudden. Here comes Beckenbauer. Look out, this could be a...
Saved by Ricky Davis.
Alan Ball was driving in, would have had a perfect shot.
Absolutely, Ricky Davis saved the day there for the Cosmos. Maybe their whole season, in fact, there with that. Because the shot was good. Birkenmeyer couldn't hold it. It slipped underneath him. This is Weimark running in now. You see, he shoots from an angle. Birkenmeyer goes down. The ball is loose.
Beautiful
Davis
play.
just one step ahead.
A gorgeous play by young Davis, the 20-year-old Californian, who, as we said, is not a token American on this team at all. You must have 2 Americans on the field, North Americans, at all times in this league. But Ricky has earned his place.
I think he earned his place with that save right there.
Boy.
That was incredible. As that ball came through, I was sure Alan Ball was going to get that and put it into the net. A marvelous piece of acceleration from Rick Davis.
And now the Cosmos again. Bogicevic. A marvel at maintaining control of the ball. Look at this. One of the greatest in the game at what you just saw. Still has the ball. Across to Naskins. Johan Naskins in the penalty area. Trying to get it across, but booted away by Willie Johnston.
The poor cross from Naskins. A pity after all that marvelous work by Bogey, that should be wasted in that way.
Mourinho gets it into Bogey again. Here comes Bogey once more. He's got a man on either side of it. To Canaglia! A goal! A goal for the Cosmos!
Bogey again. concerned in that. You could see that coming. Vancouver defenders really making terrible mistakes on that goal, just not going for the man with the ball.
A beautiful, classic goal. You could see it coming all the way as Giorgio Canaglia puts the Cosmos on the scoreboard. They lead 1-0.
Let's take a look. This is Bogey again with the ball, and he's getting back what he lost on that first one. He draws the defenders. Canaglia is open. Parks comes out, but the ball is perfectly placed by Canaglia underneath him. 1-0 Cosmos. Let's take a look at Bogey again, holding the ball and pushing it absolutely perfectly right into Canaglia's path, just where he likes it, and a right foot shot low under Phil Parks. Behind Canaglia this time, couple of steps to set himself up, and a perfect shot.
Okay, now back to the ball game. Vancouver with the ball, trailing by 1-0. They'll try to set up an offense. That was the 5th goal of the playoffs for Giorgio Canaglia.
Of course, this is going to change the tactics of the game very much from now on, Jim, because Vancouver now, it's no good them sitting back and being cautious. They've got to come out and get a goal now.
Canaglia holds all the North American Soccer League playoff scoring marks. Then we have a whistle. No signal from the official as yet.
I think this is a foul on Mourinho. I think he kicked at the ball while he was lying on the ground, and he got a bit of a Vancouver player instead of the ball.
Okay, so the free kick again for the team that is offended. That's the first thing for you to remember in this game. There's a nice cross lofted towards midfield. And the shot high and very, very wide by Willie Johnston. We'll be right back. We're back live at Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, before a big crowd. The Vancouver Whitecaps are visiting the New York Cosmos. This game is for the National Conference Championship of the North American Soccer League. The team that wins will go on to the Soccer Bowl, to the championship game next week, which we'll be seeing, of course, exclusively and live on ABC from this same stadium. But here come the Whitecaps. They trail 1-0 now. Carl Valentine, number 21. They're in the blue, going from right to left, remember.
Just putting himself in front of that very hard kick from Buzz Parsons. He just doesn't seem to care how hard he gets kicked with a ball or with feet or anything, Naskins. Absolutely fearless. Mourinho forcing an error from Valentine.
There is Mourinho, glamorous young Brazilian star. He's only 26 years old. And now Beckenbauer.
Not getting much help, I'm afraid. He'd been forced to get that ball away. That was not Beckenbauer's fault. He had no help from his teammates. Nobody came, nobody showed themselves that he could pass the ball to. He had to hang on with it, and he got himself in a problem.
Okay, there's Ricky Davis for the ball again. He had a sensational save for the Cosmos just before they got their goal. That goal, by the way, officially came at 10:02 of the first half. Canaglia assisted by Mourinho and Vukicevic. And here comes New York again. Sanino with the ball. He loves solo runs like this. We told you that, but this time it's wide. He's quick, isn't he? We'll be back. We're back again live. Vancouver against New York. The Whitecaps against the Cosmos. East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Cosmos leading 1-0 with 30 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the first half.
Solid booing there. Another foul call on Reisbergen, who's clattering into the back of Weimark very hard in this game here.
Well, you said that Reisbergen could be expected to be physical, and he certainly has been so far.
Another tackle from behind by Dulcie Moraes, getting the man before he got the ball.
Another quick free kick. There's Kevin Hector with the ball into the corner to Valentine now. Valentine's centering it, but across field, and Sanino is right there to receive it. Vukicevic coming down. He led the league in assists this year, and he had an assist just a couple of minutes ago on the first goal of this game. Reisbergen quickly to Vern Lundquist on the field with Professor Mazet.
Professor, I know you're very interested in what's going on. You wanted a goal in the first 15 minutes. You saved 5. Does that force them to change the Vancouver style?
Yes, yeah, they need to come out now and they play the game that they not supposed to plan and play the game. And as I said before, who scored the first goal in this kind of game has a tremendous psychological advantage.
It has gone exactly as you wanted it to so far.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Professor.
I hope that the rest of the game will be the same.
Jim?
Okay, and here come Vancouver. That's Willie Johnston, number 20, centering the ball, coming out the goalie Birkenmeier, and that was an easy one. Another look at the goal now.
Looking, this is Bogey. He knows Canaglia on his right. Canaglia leaves him, drifts into that space. There comes the ball. One touch with the right foot, little stutter step, and a beautiful right-footed shot.
Okay, back to the live action. Stewart up. Pass for him was missed, but Sanino picked it up. Sanino's been very much in this ballgame. Canaglia now playing way out. An unaccustomed place for him. But Giorgio's pass goes awry.
There's another thing to notice about Sanino. He is such a pest to the opponents, but he never gives up on the ball, and he comes back and he takes it right off people's feet, approaches them from behind. They're just not expecting it.
When you see these players hitting each other very hard, what is allowed is a clean, hard shoulder charge against the other man's shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder, yeah, but not from the back, and no use of elbows or hips or knees or any of the other spiky parts of your body.
Okay. Cosmos in white from left to right. They lead 1-0. 28 minutes, 35 seconds left in the first half. A must-win for them. And there is Bogicevic. As we said, he doesn't like to shoot.
That's an absolutely marvelous bit of soccer altogether. That was a beautiful pass from Mourinho, leading Bogicevic, and how he controlled that ball with his chest when he was running it towards the goal line beats me.
Mourinho with the ball now. The left-footed kick, high and wide. It's the New York Cosmos 1, Vancouver 0.
Action photography. Your Minolta dealer wants you to have this Play Better Soccer brochure. Free while supplies last. See your Minolta dealer.
Again, we return to the Meadowlands of New Jersey on a beautiful late August or September. This is the first day of September, excuse me. Labor Day weekend.
Late August.
Cosmos leading Vancouver 1-0. And I think we may have had an offside.
Offside call, yeah.
Offside against Naskins.
Naskins breaking just as the kick was taken, but breaking a little too quickly.
Now, an offensive player is offside when he does not have at least 2 defensive players between him and the goal line. One of those defensive players, of course, is the goalie. So normally it's just a question of whether there was another man or not. There was nobody except the goalie between him and the goal at the time the ball was passed to him. There you see. Cosmos scored the most goals in the league. The Whitecaps allowed the least. That's the kind of a confrontation we have here this afternoon. How are the matchups working out and lining up so far here, Paul? The way you see it?
Ricebergen, I'm just hesitating to wonder why that call went that way. Ricebergen seemed to throw himself at Lewington's feet there, but the Cosmos got the call in. There are some strange matchups going on, working very well for the Cosmos. Ricky Davis, who's down on the list as a midfielder, he seems to be playing a fullback, marking Willie Johnson. Nelson Moraes, of all people, is marking Kevin Hector, when I would have thought Ricebergen would have been on him. Ricebergen is on Weimar.
Kevin Hector, of course, being the most dangerous scoring threat of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Well, here come the Whitecaps in blue. Lenarduzzi losing the ball to Sanino.
Well, this is exactly what I was mentioning just now. Sanino will come racing back. He comes behind players, and just as they're about to kick the ball, there it is. Not there.
Seems to me he's playing a lot more defense than he normally does.
Well, and the ball seems to be coming to him like a magnet. Wherever he goes, he gets the ball.
Ricky Davis getting across the middle to Dennis Stewart. Stewart to Ricebergen. Boy, he's hard as a rock, that Dutchman. Now Mourinho with the ball. And the crowd a little bit exhausted from all the cheering they did before the game.
Well, lovely turn by Stewart.
We now have 25 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in the first half of play. 1-0 Cosmos as Alan Ball moves the ball forward. He assisted on both of the goals that Vancouver scored the other night. He has assisted on 5 of the 9 goals they have so far in the playoffs.
You get a round of applause there for a pass back to Birkenmeier, which, when it went back the other end to Parks, was greeted with this roar of boos.
Of course.
Oh, Bogey.
Look at that. Bogey on his back, still maintained control of the ball for a minute. Well, what's the call now?
This is well, it'll be a foul call on Mourinho now, but really, you see, this is what we're talking about. The foul really started when Bogey was knocked down, and it wasn't called.
Here's a look at
Mourinho gives the ball to Bogey, and as he gets it, as you can see there, Lewington comes in very hard, knocks him down. The ball is sprung loose. The referee trying to play the advantage rule. Mourinho comes in very hard, and I think that's Hector he knocked down.
That was Hector who was down, but he's up again now as the ball goes into play over the end line. And it's going to be a goal kick for the Cosmos. The offense put it over the line. There's the score.
Here's to good friends.
There are 24 minutes left in the first half of play in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. The New York Cosmos in white lead the Vancouver Whitecaps 1-0, but here come the blue-clad Whitecaps from the west coast of Canada. Carl Valentine, the young Britisher, losing the ball. Bogicevic picking it up. look from our high camera, which gives you a kind of a plan view. You can see how they try to open space. Spread the other team out all across the field, particularly the Cosmos. Of course, the Whitecaps play that classic British style, and now
we're getting rather a lot of extracurricular physical attention on the field. We've had about 4 fouls, one after the other there, which Torres Cabrichin, the referee, has let them all go except this last one. I'm a little bit worried about that. The players begin to get a bit edgy.
All right, Cosmos with the ball. There goes Dennis Stewart. But no, Phil Parks picking it off. Leading goalkeeper in the league. Vancouver moving upfield. They had one very near thing, but it happened suddenly. They haven't had the concerted offense so far, but now here they come with Trevor Whitemark, one of their forwards moving up. Ray Lewington, red-headed Scotsman, centering the ball for Whitemark. The header hit the crossbar and brought down by Birkenmeier.
Example there of how dangerous Whitemark is in the air. That's it. That's his strength. He got up to that ball beautifully. He was way above Ricebergen. He headed it sharply. He headed it hard. This is Lewington's cross. A lovely cross. Birkenmeier doesn't go for it. Whitemark above everybody hits the underside of the bar, bounces down on the line. Thankfully grabbed by Birkenmeier. Another close shave for the Cosmos.
If it had bounced inside the line, it would have been a goal. Here's another look at it.
Lewington's cross is an absolute beauty. Up goes Whitemark above everybody. He gets a lot of power on that ball. And you can see it is not over the line.
And now here come the Cosmos again. In the middle is Dennis Stewart. Getting it into Canoia. The header just wide.
Well, clutched heads, run hands all around on the Cosmos forward line. Beautiful chance, beautiful opening work by Stewart and Sanino on the right. A lovely ball pushed in low by Stewart. Nobody else could get to that except Canalia. He turned it well, but just wide of the near post. No question that soccer fever has struck the metropolis of New York. You can hear them hooting and hollering, cheering. They've got the banners. And they all stayed away from the seashore on Labor Day weekend. Well, another tripping foul, this time on Whitemark. Now the referee, I think, is going to give Whitemark a yellow card for that one.
All right, a yellow card is a caution for the player. There it is, clearly displayed, and then he'll write his name down.
I think a bit of frustration on Whitemark. He feels he's been getting a lot of attention from Ricebergen. Ricebergen's been getting away with it. Whitemark probably feels he's suffering a bit for that call.
Did you notice on that shot of the crowd that some of them bring their own yellow cards to put up?
I mean, no question that is a blatant trip, and it is well worth a yellow card.
Okay, we'd like to alert our local stations that we'll be taking a station break at our next opportunity. Right now, however, there's Whitemark to Alan Ball. Ball moving up midfield, getting it down to Hector. Hector almost unguarded. No.
Offside. Flag went up a little late on that one. We discussed that offside call in the first game. That was a similar sort of situation where the ball was pushed through, and the linesman judged, I think, that Hector was in line with Nelson Moraes, the last defender. Now, if you're in line, you're offside. Okay. You do not, in fact, have two men between you and the goal line. Here's Ricebergen. Over to Sanino. Sanino's had about 30 seconds rest. He should be ready to go. Ricebergen, and the ball kicked out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the Cosmos. It was knocked over the sideline or into touch by Vancouver. Cosmos leading 1-0. 20 minutes, 45 seconds left in the first half. Ricebergen with a long lofted center. Bogicevic bringing it down, maintaining control. He's had 40 assists in his career with the Cosmos. Led the league in them this year. And that one by Beckenbauer seemed to go nowhere. Okay, let's take a station break, and we'll be back. The New York Cosmos in white lead the Vancouver Whitecaps in blue 1-0 in a North American Soccer League playoff game for the National Conference Championship. That's Sanino, number 11, for the Cosmos. Just loves to take it in by himself. Parks blocked it. The goalie is out. But there were 4 defenders around the goal mouth to help him out. Causing him a lot of problems, Sanino. I mean, he's over there on the left-hand side of the goal. He's supposed to be a right winger. But he's causing them, every time he gets the ball, something rather unpleasant is happening for Vancouver. Sanino is a 30-year-old Portuguese star, about average size for a soccer player, 5'9½", 154. Was a medic for 2.5 years during the Angolan Civil War. So he's seen tougher things than this. All right, Vancouver trying to mount something. Naiskin's clearly not attempting to play the ball there, just played Lenarduzzi right out of the field, so it'll be a free kick to Vancouver. That's another way to think about penalties and foul calls in soccer if you're new to the game. If you play the man rather than the ball, Yes.
A foul's going to be called.
Yes, other than that, the solid shoulder charge that you mentioned earlier on.
Yes. Well, there you're playing the man, and the ball must be involved. Here, it's Birkenmeyer. Ricebergen getting it back to now. Up to Ricky Davis. Whoops. He lost at that time to Carl Valentine. Playing on artificial turf here. That makes a difference in the game of soccer.
Well, it shouldn't make any difference to either of these teams because both of their home fields. Well, Ricebergen really is getting away with a lot out there. In fact, Ricebergen would be Ricebergen is going to get himself thrown out of this game if he's not very careful.
Did he give them a yellow? I didn't see it yet.
Well, he bitterly contested that call from the referee, particularly Alan Ball going through with the ball. Look at this scything tackle. Look at this. The ball has definitely gone. He's brought down. And Ricebergen, instead of letting sleeping dogs lie or letting Alan Ball lie on the ground there, ran straight up the referee to protest that call. Now, why he would do that, I don't know. It was a pretty clear and obvious foul.
Well, it'll be a direct free kick for Vancouver, meaning that they can kick it directly into the goal without it touching another player. Indirect free kick must touch at least one other player who can be on either side. Remember, the Cosmos must win 2 games this afternoon. This one, and if they win this one, then a shorter 30-minute game to decide the issue between the two teams. It's a goal! John Craven, the defender, quickly slipping in.
Yes, I'm not sure who put that. I think Craven is going to claim the credit. Ricebergen was there with him. Couldn't quite see who got the foot on the ball there.
And suddenly it's all tied up. The Cosmos' early advantage has disappeared with 17 minutes and 45 seconds still remaining in the first half, and that quiets the crowd. Let's see.
We see Alan Ball's free kick coming over. Well, it's not clear to me who put that ball in, but as Craven was leaping in the air and claiming all the credit, and see if we can see from this angle. It's a lovely flighted little free kick. It's in the air long enough to allow these players to run underneath it.
Boy, difficult to tell.
I still can't tell whether it's Ricebergen or Craven who put the ball in, but I imagine the goal is going to be given to Craven.
We'll get the official ruling on that, of course, but there's no question that it's now tied up at 1-1. Late in the first half, the Cosmos and Vancouver. New York must win, or it's over for them. Okay, the goal was given to John Craven on an assist from Alan Ball. Now, Ball has now assisted in the last 3 goals that Vancouver scored in the playoffs, 2 of them Wednesday night and this one. He's now assisted on 6 out of 10 that they've scored in the playoffs. All right, now let's see if the attitude of the Cosmos is taken down by this.
A rather bad mistake by Rick Davis there, giving the ball away in midfield, leaving Johnston free to race in. Look out.
That was Willie Johnston over to Trevor Wymark.
I think it was Mourinho who saved that. Mourinho coming across to push it away for a corner right off Trevor Wymark's feet.
So now it's, in a sense, advantage to Vancouver. In the sense that I think they don't have to win this game.
In the momentum sense. Well, I think they feel they do, Jim. I was speaking to some of the players, and they say, forget the mini-game. It's the first game we won.
Okay. And a momentary pause here. Let's take a break. It's all tied. We've had a brief pause for injury time in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. Ray Lewington of Vancouver was down on the field. Looks like he's going to stay in. John Samuels was warming up, but Lewington's still in there. The ball centered on the corner kick, picked off by Birkenmeyer, the Cosmos goalie. Here's another look at that goal for Vancouver.
Trying to spot whose leg it is that gets to the ball here. Well, we'll give it to Craven. It certainly looked like Craven's right leg on that one. Ricebergen was in there, and there was a bit of a melee.
Officially, it was given to Craven. Otherwise, it would have been called own goal and charged against Ricebergen. An embarrassing thing for anybody, particularly in a conference final. Here is Bogicevic getting into Kanaya, just missed.
Well, Bogicevic's eye was perfect. He saw Kanaya, he saw the space. His pass was a little bit too hard. That was a very difficult ball for Kanaya to control.
Well, there you see the playoff record this year of Kanaya. Now here is Vancouver in the blue, moving from right to left. They've tied it at 1 apiece. Here comes Kevin Hector downfield by himself. And it's taken away by Franz Beckenbauer.
Calmly cut out by Beckenbauer, playing in his sweeper position, just calmly moving across, getting to the ball first, and not even kicking it out of bounds, keeping it in bounds, starting a Cosmos attack going.
Now, although Beckenbauer has almost always played midfield for the Cosmos, sweeper's the position he really likes the most, doesn't it?
Sweeper's the position he really made famous. I was thinking this morning, what an oddity that they're playing without Carlos Alberto, and everybody is moaning about it. And the substitute for Carlos Alberto is Franz Beckenbauer. This is they're complaining about this.
And if once again you wonder what a sweeper is, he's a defender. However, he's a special kind of defender who often plays behind the other defenseman in the middle and will be seen on the attack a lot. He can go just about any place, and Beckenbauer is certainly capable of that. It's a question now, for the moment, of the Cosmos keeping their poise and regaining the momentum. It's all tied with 14.5 minutes to go in the half. Naskins, Reisbergen. The two Dutchmen passing it to each other. Now the header, kicked away by Bob Lenarduzzi. Stolen by Mourinho.
Oh, Mourinho, really. I don't know whether Mourinho's got a complex about not shooting like Bogey has, but he had a shot there and it was on his right foot. Instead, he pushed it into the middle.
Mourinho normally would love to.
Exactly. He will usually blast the ball from that. He had the shot, he had the opening, he created it beautifully. He didn't take it.
1-1, Vancouver and New York. If you've just joined us, conditions are beautiful. A nice summer day. Hot down in the field, reflecting off the artificial turf, but nothing like the humidity we had the last 2 weeks of the games we saw in Tampa Bay and Fort Lauderdale. It's a very pleasant day. Now Vancouver, Alan Ball, who assisted on their goal, who was a star of the World Cup in 1966 for England when they defeated West Germany in the finals. There's Kevin Hector down.
I think we had two sort of confrontations in that. Mourinho clearly obstructed Alan Ball, but what happened after that, I don't know.
Here comes the medic, the man with the magic sponge. Let's take a break.
Do you know me? I won the triple press card. Don't leave home without it.
Well, the crowd here is booing Kevin Hector for remaining on the ground. He was knocked down, he's injured, and the clock is stopped.
Try and see what happened. This is Alan Ball, who gets obstructed on the right there by Mourinho. Hector tackled by Moraes from behind. I guess I made a mistake. That call was not on Mourinho. It was not for that foul. It was for this one, which is clearly much more serious. A kick on the leg for Kevin Hector. He's still on the ground. His shoe came off.
The scoring star of the Vancouver Whitecaps, Kevin Hector, number 11, 33 years old now, but he hasn't lost a step from all evidence that we have seen. King Kevin, the Whitecaps' all-time leading scorer. This year he had 15 goals and 6 assists, leads their playoff scoring with 2 goals and 3 assists.
Let's take a look at it from the front here. This is Mourinho running in front of Alan Ball. I thought that was the foul, but clearly this one here.
Now
a kick from Moraes on Kevin Hector.
Excuse me, we now have a substitute, surprisingly, for the Cosmos, Mark Liverich, an American, number 29, replacing Dennis Stewart.
Well, Dennis Stewart has a leg injury, and that is not good news for the Cosmos, because Stewart had been playing very well up until then. Faded out of the game a bit, and I guess that's the reason why. His leg injury must be bothering him.
Could be very important for the Cosmos, losing Dennis Stewart in the early going. There he is, very personable English star. We'll try to have a word with him when we can, and from Vern Lundquist. Here come the Cosmos.
That's not to say that that Liverich can't cause problems too. He's a very strong, sturdy little player, Liverich. He has the ball now.
Yep. Very quickly getting into the game is Mark Liverich, a fresh face, kicked away.
He did exactly that.
John
He caused a lot of problems by retaining possession in a very difficult situation and getting the ball into the middle.
By the way, if you're wondering whether Stewart can come back in the so-called mini game that may ensue here if the Cosmos win this game, the answer is yes. Anyone who was on the roster announced before the game of 16 players for each side may play in the second game if it comes to pass. Cosmos must win here to force that second game. It's all tied at 1-1 with 12 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the first half. Another look at Stewart on the bench. That's right, he had great playoffs last year, most valuable player, as the Cosmos won the soccer bowl from the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Could be a rematch of that, but the Tampa Bay team has just as tough a job ahead of them as the Cosmos have. Tomorrow night in Tampa Bay, they must win 2 games from San Diego.
Well, Kevin Hector this time, I think that might have been a little bit of a revenge for the foul on this side of the field, bowling Nelson Moraes over from the back.
All right, Sanino now to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer, remember, at sweeper. From all the way on the defense, now up to midfield, and he'll be on the attack too. There's Liverich. Liverich, very much on the qui-vive, really.
Yeah. Now, Liverich, he is so difficult to get off the ball. He has legs like 2 oak trees stitched together. That's each leg, not both legs. And it's just almost impossible to knock him down off the ball.
5'11", 175. He's solid, chunky player. There's Naskins. And the ball kicked over the sideline by Buzz Parsons. Should be a throw-in for the Cosmos. Let's go quickly to Vern with Stewart.
All right, Jim, we've got Dennis Stewart, who just unexpectedly came out of the game. Dennis, I'm sure it's the leg injury.
No, it's not the one that that was threatening to keep me out of the game. It's the hamstring. I pulled a hamstring. The stretch for the ball.
Shot by Ricky Davis. Here comes Davis again.
Shot by Ricky Davis back here. Jim, I'm sorry. One more question, Dennis. Do you think you would be able to come back in the mini game if there is one?
I think that's the precaution the professor's made. He's taken me out. We've got ice on the leg now. And hopefully it's going to settle down. But I'm not very happy with hamstrings because it's normally a bit longer.
Okay, Dennis. Thank you. Jim?
And that was a rather neat little kick by Franz Beckenbauer, the Kaiser they call him.
Marvellous bit of play that, Jim. Under pressure, pushing that ball back to Berkemeyer so coolly and calmly.
10.5 minutes until halftime, and you see there some of the things we'll have at halftime. Pele with his final inside soccer tip, up close and personal of one of the players in the game, and highlights of the first half. So, 10 minutes, 15 seconds now. It's 1-1. Vancouver in the blue, Cosmos in the white. And Ricebergen with the ball.
Amazing Nelson Moraes, who's really not known for his jumping ability, beating Kevin Hector solidly in the air there.
Now the Cosmos, while Tuart was in, had been playing with 2 forwards in essence, Canaglia and Sanino. Now it's 3 forwards with Liverich in the game. Hector, one-on-one with Nelson Moraes.
He has no support. He'll have to do it on his own. Well, there's another clear obstruction call, and that is probably worth a yellow card, I think, because it was so blatant.
Well, here comes referee Toros Cabriccian. See what he calls.
Nope.
He didn't have that yellow card look in his eye.
Liverich giving the ball away, and a long ball, and found Kevin Hector on the right there, which led to this. No, there's no caution on this.
This is an indirect free kick, obstruction being one of the so-called lesser fouls in the game. That means it had to touch another player before it could go into the goal. All right, Vancouver. They scored so quickly on their 1 goal. It wasn't a concerted attack, it was a sudden thrust. And there'll be no concerted attack this time. Look out, though. Ball taken by Willie Johnston, the Scottish international. And this time it's Ricky Davis.
Ricky Davis again clearly obstructing, and obstructing, I think, with the help of a shoulder or an elbow there, barging Willie Johnson off the ball, running in front of him. Now, a call that obviously not contested by Davis. He knew what he'd done. A free kick to Vancouver.
Incidentally, if by any chance you're wondering, it's not like basketball where so many fouls and you're out.
I should point out, Jim, this is exactly the position where Vancouver got their last goal.
Boy, they do that very well on that set play, but here comes Sanino by himself. Can he get it on the sidelines? Yes, it's... Nope, it's said he went out.
Just out. The crowd booing the linesman, but I think that was a good call. I think the ball was just inches out.
In soccer, it's the opposite of American football. The whole ball must be over the entire line. In our game, of course, if any part of the ball touches the inside of the line, it's out. It's the other way here. But it was out, and so it was called. 1-1, 8 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the first half. Ricebergen now, the blonde Dutchman, the policeman on the Cosmos team, and he's certainly been a stern officer of the law so far today. Bogicevic.
Well, it's a very, very solid contact again there made by Roger Kenyon into the back of Bogey.
And it'll be a free kick for the Cosmos. A long one downfield towards Naskins. Uses his head a tremendous amount and very effectively. Here it is. With the little battle for possession at midfield here.
Lovely bit of play by Nelson Moraes there, getting the ball away from Alan Ball, keeping it under control, giving it to Bogey.
Into the middle now to Canaglia. A little touch to Mourinho. Kicked away, but Moraes heads it over to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer to Moraes again. The experienced veteran Brazilian. Here comes Sanino by himself. Look out! He's got Canaglia. It's 2-1 Cosmos. Giorgio Canaglia has scored again.
I'm afraid that Vancouver were trying the offside trap there as that ball came through to Sanino. About 4 Vancouver hands went up in the air appealing for offside, but the linesman said no. Sanino raced on, played it beautifully, got to it before the goalkeeper, pulled it away from him. Canaglia was there, as always, to put it in the net.
With his 6th goal of the North American Soccer League playoff.
Now that is the ball that's pushed through. They're appealing for offside, but Sanino, so speedy, runs it in, pushes it across, Parks out of the play at that point, and Canaglia right there to put it in. This is the ball that comes through to Sanino. We can't see from this angle whether he's offside or not, but we can see him outpacing the defender there. Parks will come into your screen on the right there. There's Canaglia. Parks just taken out of the play by a perfectly timed pass. Now that one you can see he is either in line or behind that defender, which means he's not offside in the second case. So the offside thing remains slightly in doubt. I would say from that angle he looks clearly onside.
Okay, there's been an indeterminate battle for the ball while we've been looking at those replays from many angles. Vancouver with it now, trailing by 2-1 with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first half. And officially that goal came at 38:01 of the first half. Canalla with assists to Sanino and Moraes. There's Marinho again, faking a shot, taking one, and Parks pouncing on the ball. That could have dribbled past him.
He could have dribbled past him. I think he thought it was going to go for a corner, but I'm not sure who that hit. That might have hit Canalla, his own player.
That is Giorgio Canaglia's 20th career playoff goal. There's nobody even close to him in the North American Soccer League. Canaglia, of course, played much of his career with the famous Lazio team in Rome, and they still miss him there. Here comes Liverich.
Looked like something approaching a handball there. No appeals from the Cosmos.
One more look.
Now, at that moment, is Sanino onside or not? I think he is onside because the player to his right is keeping him onside.
Okay, Vancouver trying to tie it up before halftime now. They trail 2-1, 4 minutes, 45 seconds left. Lenarduzzi, a hometown boy from Vancouver who grew up only a mile from their stadium. He was number 5 with the ball, but now it's the Cosmos. Reisbergen getting it over to Rick Davis. Rick Davis at age 20, playing in one of the most important games of his life. The young Californian with the ball again now, number 17. Getting it to Neeskens, the Dutchman, back to Ricky Davis.
We have an incredible situation there, Jim. You see how attack-minded the Cosmos are. A minute ago, we had... Canaglia deals with this one.
We seldom see him out at the center line there.
We had Davis and Liverich back with the ball, and in front of them were Marinho and Reisbergen, both defenders, but they were getting in front of their own midfielders and forwards.
That was headed away by number 4, John Craven, and now Vancouver takes over. Alan Ball, he's assisted on their goal. He's assisted on 6 of the 10 goals they've had in the playoffs so far. Gets it over to young Carl Valentine. Down goes Valentine. There's a whistle. It'll be a free kick for Vancouver.
A little harsh, that one, I think, because Moraes clearly played the ball away. The player just ran over Moraes' outstretched legs. A harsh call against the Cosmos, that one.
It's a direct free kick, so he could have kicked that directly for the goal if he wanted, but he didn't. Lenarduzzi centering it, headed away for the Cosmos by Rick Davis. Gee, Ricky's playing a good game, Paul.
I'm not too happy with that, Jim, because he headed that right out of his own goalkeeper's hands. There should have been some shouting, some communication there.
Well, here comes Mark Liverich, the other American in the lineup for the Cosmos. He replaced Dennis Stewart, gets it to Marinho. Marinho tried to get it back to him on the give and go, but couldn't quite do it.
Marinho was assisted on that pass.
Well, here's that player.
Now you see this ball coming across. Both of them are going for it, but you see Davis heading it right out of his hands there. That ball should have been allowed to go to the goalkeeper. Lack of communication between the two there.
Here comes Vancouver. Bergenmeyer with the save. It's the Cosmos 2, Vancouver 1, 2:45 in the half.
After all these years, I still like working out.
New York Cosmos in a must-win situation lead the Vancouver Whitecaps 2-1. If you've just joined us, it's the North American Soccer League playoffs. This game for the National Conference Championship. The winner to go on to the Soccer Bowl on this field next Saturday. ABC will be reporting that exclusively for you and live. Again at 2 o'clock next Saturday afternoon. Cosmos leading 2-1, 1:48 left in the half. If the Cosmos win this game, again, for those of you who've just come with us, there'll be another 30-minute game to decide the issue between the teams because Vancouver won their first game last Wednesday night. Reisbergen in the middle to Bogey, as they call him. Bogey waving, giving signals, getting it back to Rick Davis.
Giving signals, giving everything except the ball, unfortunately.
Yeah. Canaglia to Sanino. There's nobody really in the middle in the penalty area now. Reisbergen getting it in towards Canaglia, but
nearly again a good idea, and again a big gap down the middle of that Vancouver defense. If the ball had been maybe a foot and a half, 2 feet to the right, Canaglia would have got that. He would have had a shot on his left foot, admittedly, which is not his favorite foot. But
it should be quite a second half before the big crowd in New Jersey. Here comes Vancouver. 57 seconds, 56, under a minute now. Bang, off the side. Marinho
just jumping to get in the way of that ball. He ended up passing it beautifully with his back, or the lower part of his back, to Beckenbauer.
Bogie to Mourinho. Mourinho back to Bogie, the Yugoslavian, the assist star of New York, to Mark Liverich to replace Dennis Stewart. Liverich with the pass to Davis. And back again to Liverich, over to Sanino. 28 seconds left. Could get another shot here. Here's Sanino all by himself. Is he going to try to take it in or just kill the clock? Well, there's Beckenbauer. He'll decide. Over to Bogie. They're just trying to kill the clock. It's down to 12 seconds. There you see it. 12, 11, 10. That's an unofficial clock. Only the referee has the official time. It should be close. It normally is close to the official time. Vancouver down by 2-1. May get another shot, or maybe not. There's Weimar, and that's it. At the end of the first half, the New York Cosmos, who must win this game to force another one this afternoon, lead Vancouver by 2-1. Stay with us. It's all live.
That legendary man is here today, and we hope to talk with him before this game is over. We also definitely will have Pele live 1 week from today. One of the things we have not talked about yet is goalkeeping, and Phil Parks, for example, of the Vancouver Whitecaps, for the second year in a row is the NASL's leading goalkeeper. He's obviously one of the best in the game. And that is the subject of Pele's Inside Soccer this afternoon as he demonstrates some of the skills of goalkeeping. Inside Soccer with Pele is brought to you by Minolta, the easy-to-use automatic 35mm reflex camera.
In soccer, anyone can make a mistake, except the goalkeeper. Today we're gonna show you some tips about goalkeeping.
Goalkeepers must be agile and quick, and this drill helps to enhance those qualities. Pele and the keeper moving laterally back and forth, the ball being rolled on the ground. And then suddenly the ball bounced in front of him. If you're the goalkeeper, get your body behind the ball, clasp it firmly into the midriff, lean slightly forward. There is often the element of surprise for keepers, balls suddenly coming in from different angles. Pele here is helping the goalkeeper with his reactions, since the keeper doesn't know if the ball will be coming at him high or low. His concentration and his anticipation must be keen. Shots at the net are not always taken when the goalkeeper is standing up. There may be awkward moments or dangerous moments when the keeper is on the ground and can't use his legs to push toward the ball. Pele gradually increases the length of each of his tosses, forcing the goalkeeper to stretch more and more each time. Leaning out, grabbing the ball securely, making certain he doesn't lose possession. High shots and crosses are often cannonading in on the keeper, dipping in or under the crossbar. His best tactic in this case is to tip or deflect the ball firmly over the net and out of play. The timing of his leap at the ball is critical. A mistake and the ball could be in the back of the net. If the ball drops into the box farther out from the goal, the keeper will want to catch it, and catch it as high up in the air as he possibly can. Keep your eye on the ball until it is safely in your hands, and concentrate. Concentration here especially critical because other players will be in the area. Distribution of the ball is another of the keeper's responsibilities. He can roll the ball to a nearby teammate, or use a baseball-like throw. This is useful for middle distance efforts, or for long throws, a stiff-armed, discus-like motion. Goalkeeping a tiring position, especially if you've worked out against Pele.
Action photography is easy with the Minolta XG130.
Up close and personal way. Today it's going to be Kevin Hector. They call him King Kevin. He's the scoring star of the Whitecaps. Could be important and very important in the second half. Let's meet him now.
When I was back home in England, I was idolised. The club who I played for, Derby County, they called me King Kevin, they loved me. And everywhere I went, restaurants, parks, on just family outings, people would come up to you and want your autograph, shake your hand and ask how you were doing. But over there it's a little bit different. People don't recognise you so much, and I'm enjoying it. I'm able to go out with my family and not be recognised, and it's a good feeling. Every spare moment I get away from playing football, we just love to get outdoors and take a barbecue, picnic, and get to the parks. My daughters are very close to me. Actually, they're probably my biggest fans, my two daughters. And probably biggest critics as well, because every game I play, they always want me to get a goal each for them. And we've got a great father-daughter relationship, and I love them both, yeah. Pat and I have been married 13 years. And some people say 13 is a bit unlucky, but I don't think so. We're quite happy. We know each other's moods and everything, so I think really you could say, apart from loving each other, we like brother and sister, as well as being married.
Kevin Hector, the abdicated king of Derby County, seems the happiest commoner in Vancouver, BC.
Today, Kendall Oil's Car in the Street interview talks with a Ferrari.
Here's a game between the New York Cosmos and the Vancouver Whitecaps. I'm Jim McKay with our expert Paul Gardner, and why don't you take us through all 3 goals here? How about that?
Well, let's see what happened on that first goal. The Cosmos got what they wanted. They said they wanted an early goal, and they got it. Now, sometimes an early goal is what you want, and sometimes it isn't. This is Bogey with some marvelous assist work. He sees Canalia on his own. Canalia, 1 foot touch with the right foot and shooting it low and hard, much harder than that slow motion replay shows, under Phil Parks before he can get down. So the Cosmos have their first goal. This is Bogey again, same assist, beautiful play, perfect pass right into the path of Canalia, struck beautifully with the right foot, right down the center, right through the middle, straight into the goal.
Let's have a look at
what
the
happened
second goal.
was, sorry, Jim, what happened was, of course, that Vancouver, rather unexpectedly maybe, came back and they got this goal. Alan Ball free kick floated across, and there's a defender up there breaking quickly. It's Craven, gets his foot to the ball and puts it just inside the post there. But a beautifully taken free kick, because you can see it coming over. The goalkeeper can't go out for this. He's not going to get it, so he stays back. And unfortunately, Ricebergen, there's the defender, doesn't get to the ball, but the other defender from the other end, Craven, does. And in it goes near the near post. So 1-1 at that point. Cosmos battling back. Now you'll see Nelson Moraes here with the ball, pushing it up long. Now Sanino breaks. Is he onside? Well, clearly he is from that shot, because the defender to his right. But his sheer speed takes him past that defender. Parks hesitates, doesn't come out. Sanino pushes it inside, and there, as always, the reliable Giorgio Canalia to put it away with his right foot. 2-1 to the Cosmos. There's that long ball from Moraes. Sanino breaking towards the camera, beating this defender. I think that's Lenarduzzi. Yes, it is. Beating him for sheer speed and controlling the ball with 1 touch, pushing it with his left foot, the outside of his left foot, into the middle, where Giorgio Canalia just gleefully gleefully scoops it into the goal.
Wasn't that a beautiful move by Sanino? First with 1 foot, then with the other.
Controlling with his right and flicking it with the outside of his left. Superb
outside
stuff.
of his left foot. Well, they're all ready to cheer the Cosmos for another half on their home field. Remember that today's Vancouver Whitecaps New York Cosmos National Conference Final Playoff game is being brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, an American citizen now, although originally from Italy, a great star with Lazio. There's the man who scored for the Whitecaps, John Craven, the captain of their side. Out much of the year with injuries, but now in perfect condition and obviously very important to their offense and their defense. He's a defenseman, but he scored the goal. This time it'll be Vancouver moving from left to right, Cosmos in the white from right to left.
I think it's almost true to say, Jim, that the Cosmos really need another goal here. I mean, 2-1. A 1-goal lead is simply not enough in this game. 3-1, I think, would put it away for the Cosmos, but they must fight for another goal. They must not relax at this point, even though they are leading.
That was Ricky Davis, number 17, who intercepted the ball, stole it away, actually, for the Cosmos. If you have just joined us, the Cosmos must win this game and then force another game for which we will stay. It'll be played today, a 30-minute game, because Vancouver won the first game between them on Wednesday night on the West Coast. I'd like to welcome, by the way, the audience in British Columbia carrying our game today. They're soccer crazy out there. They said they could have sold 50 or 60,000 tickets last Wednesday night. They could only hold a little over 32. Here are the Whitecaps on the offense. People were in line at 5 o'clock last Monday morning to buy tickets for the game that was played out there. Alan Ball, who assisted, was number 23, getting it over to Willie Johnston, the Scot, a fiery one at that. Here comes Willie Johnston. And a whistle.
Referee is waving play on. I thought I heard a whistle there. Look at Sanino's speed here. Look at this.
Sanino by himself, but he's got Canalia in the middle now. And down goes Sanino. Is there a whistle?
Brought down by Lenarduzzi from behind. The referee says no foul. Sanino already up racing back. He's on the ball again.
We may never know whether there was a whistle at the other end of the field or not. Certainly certainly sounded like one, but play went on.
I think it must have come from the crowd. This happens from time to time. Fans thinking they're doing the right thing. Why they would think that, I don't know. Bring whistles, and it can be very confusing for the players, and never mind the commentators.
That was a quick look at Sanino, as now Vancouver will put the ball into play with a free kick. They trail 2-1. We have 43 minutes left in this game. Ray Lewington hitting it over. Buzz Parsons, the Canadian. John Craven, the captain, who scored the goal, to Roger Kenyon, a stalwart defender. Indeterminate battle for control at midfield. And it's a throw-in for Vancouver. Cosmos had put the ball into touch across the outside line. Phil Parks, by the way, has never given up more than 2 goals in a playoff game since he's been in the North American Soccer League, but he's given up 2 so far today. He's the leading goalie in the league at an average of under 1 goal per game for the second consecutive year.
We can hear the crowd with this sort of rhythmic Cosmos chant they have, which is really borrowed from European soccer. It's a very effective way of encouraging the team.
So is much of the team.
Oh, Ricebergen again tackling from behind, an immediate call. Crowd booing the decision. I don't know why. I think that's pretty clearly a foul.
Okay, Vancouver with the ball in the blue. Across the sideline. It'll be a throw-in for the Cosmos. Cosmos going from right to left this half. They have, of course, changed sides. Nelson Moraes with the ball, and down he goes. Foul is called.
Tripped by Trevor Wymark. Trevor Wymark, of course, had better be careful with that because he already has a yellow card from the first half, and if he gets another one, he is out of this game and the second and the mini game if it comes to that. There's the foul. Pretty clear trip. Not tripped with the foot, tripped with the side of the leg.
That was Naskins moving it up to Mark Liverich. Liverich with the ball, going towards the middle, towards Canalia, but no, and that was almost a head-to-head confrontation between Liverich.
I think that's Kenyon who went down.
Kenyon, right.
Yeah, well, Liverich took that pass nicely, ran it in the middle, lost control of it, but followed the ball, and by the time it got to Kenyon, Liverich was arriving at the same time, and it was like an immovable object meeting a irresistible force.
Well, a whack on the head means little to Roger Kenyon. He was once literally left for dead in an automobile accident. That was only about 3 or 4 years ago.
Beckenbauer running through there and sort of elbowed off the ball by Kevin Hector. Kevin Hector says, how can you possibly make that call? I didn't do anything of the sort, but what he says isn't going to matter. It's a free kick for the Cosmos.
And since that was one of the more serious fouls in the game, it calls for a direct free kick. He can try to loft that over the defense and right into the goal, and so he does, but it's high.
Well, Mourinho has an absolutely tremendously hard shot. I mean, that ball must have traveled about 40 yards. It was still going up when it went into the stands there, but it's not much good if it's not on.
East Rutherford, New Jersey. The action live, at stake, the championship of the National Conference of the North American Soccer League. Also at stake, a trip to the Soccer Bowl for the championship of the entire league next Saturday. It's the Cosmos 2, the Vancouver Whitecaps 1. 39 minutes and 30 seconds left in this game. If the Cosmos win it, there'll be another game, 30 minutes in duration. Not sudden death, but a complete 30-minute game to decide the issue. Here come the Cosmos in white from right to left with the lead. Ricebergen.
No, Ricebergen a little unlucky there. A nice pass from Mourinho. He tried to turn it inside full time. He just caught a defender's foot.
Benarduzzi kicked it way downfield. We haven't had much of that today, those long punts.
No, I think that's probably worth mentioning because the so-called English style comes in for a lot of criticism sometimes, that all it is biff bang the ball and chase it down the field. Of course, that's not true. There's been a lot of very clever control play from Vancouver this afternoon.
As we go along, when you have a chance, you might contrast something of the style of the Cosmos here. You see a good example of it with the Whitecaps and their more physical English style. There's Alan Ball, losing the ball to Bogey. Bogey's not fast at all. He looks almost lazy out there sometimes, but he maintains control.
He lopes along, but his ball control is superb. Again, another player who's very difficult to separate from the ball. Such confidence. During all that, he had his head up. He wasn't even looking at the ball. He knew it was there. He knew he could control it.
Bogey again to Liverich. Liverich across the field to Sanino. Sanino back out to Naskins. Everybody is out of the penalty area, but now in went Naskins again, and they almost got it to him.
Across from Mourinho, last played by a defender.
That'll be a goal kick for Vancouver. They trail 2-1. New York 2, Vancouver won. We're in the second half at Giant Stadium. 37-21 remaining in this, what may be the first game of the day. Sanino with the ball. Canalia's in his usual place in the middle. He had been playing out the end of the penalty box. Liverich is in a scoring position too. Rick Davis now moving across to Mourinho. Mourinho shipping it in towards Neeskens. Headed across to Liverich. Liverich moving into the middle. He likes that move. He's done it a couple of times, but to no effect so far as goals are concerned. Mourinho almost got that one, but it's Neeskens. He never stops, never stops. He's playing. He had a separated shoulder and a groin injury within the last week or so, and he's still out there.
Separated shoulder. I think he had a broken bone in his wrist, too.
That's right. Here comes a yellow card
for Alan Ball. Look at Alan Ball sort of reacting with absolute horror. How could you do that to me? Well, a little bit of light relief in the game there from Alan Ball.
But that does mean that if Ball would get another yellow card, he'd be out of this game, and that would be a very, very bad development for Vancouver.
Yeah, well, Vancouver have two players now, Wymark and Ball, who've received yellow card cautions. Alan Ball trying to find out what that was for.
Certainly, Toros Cabricci, the referee, has kept very good control of this game so far. Here's Mourinho again, number 3, the blonde from Brazil, over to the Portuguese Sanino. Stolen away by Lenarduzzi.
Well, I'm afraid Sanino committed a foul on Lenarduzzi after the ball had gone there. He tripped him as he went for the ball. The referee didn't see it.
Kevin Hector there, number 11. You met him up close and personal at halftime. There it is to John Craven, who scored the goal for Vancouver. Alan Ball gets it across to Valentine. I love the official ruling on the yellow card. The yellow card was given for dissent.
We have dissent or foul or abusive language.
The most famous player in the history of the game is down with Vern Lundquist. That would be Pelé.
Okay, Jim, thank you. And we have that legendary figure right here. The point has been made, Pelé, that the Cosmos perhaps need one more goal, don't you think?
Yes, no doubt, because this game is scaring me, because they play good, and the counter-attack, they play very nice. And we have a luck. We scored the second goal right in the first time. Now, I think we should be more tight, and wait the time to make a third goal, because it's going to be very difficult.
You don't expect at all, then, that there'll be a tendency to sit on a 2-1 lead?
No, it's terrible to be here in a bunch. And I don't know. I feel nervous when I see the game like that, because they want to do something you can't help.
The Cosmos feel nervous right now. Sorry about this, to interrupt you, but that was a very close one. Kevin Hector almost had a good shot. Here come the Cosmos on the counterattack. Liverich going down with his man.
Liverich
with Parsons.
Tackled from behind by Parsons. The referee has given a free kick for that. That was a good call, because
now Liverich grasping his knee. Now he replaced Dennis Stewart.
He twisted it, so he twisted around to let that ball run through, and he did it very nicely, but he got his foot trapped by Buzz Parsons.
The Cosmos 2, Vancouver 1, 34:50 to go.
Meet the only...
The New York Cosmos 2, the Vancouver Whitecaps 1. 34 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in the regulation game. Had a little altercation here just before we came back. Take a look at it.
No, it's Parks getting the ball from a Mourinho free kick, and you see Liverich barreling into Parks, and maybe a little bit. Liverich is waving. You didn't have to do that. Maybe a little bit of acting by Parks, but maybe not. Liverich talked to by the referee, not given an official caution.
Of course, the goalie is a bit of a sacrosanct person. You'll not charge into him.
He is. He's sort of calls for extra protection from his teammates, and when he's fouled, they tend to get a bit annoyed.
Okay, Vancouver with the ball from the left to the right in the blue. They trail 2-1. 34 minutes, 10 seconds left in regulation. If the Cosmos win this, we go on to another game. Should it be tie, we'll have to have sudden death on this game and maybe a shootout before we start the other game, assuming the Cosmos would win that. All right, here comes New York. Canalia made a little move, but the ball wasn't there. Roger Kenyon.
It was beautifully read, or beautifully anticipated by Roger Kenyon. He moved very quickly and took that ball right away from Canalia.
Okay, Lenarduzzi. Of the Lenarduzzi brothers, there are 3 of them who play professional soccer. Now Alan Ball, star of the World Cup in 1966 for England, against Beckenbauer, the man who now takes the ball away from him. Beckenbauer was playing for West Germany at that time.
He was indeed. He was playing in midfield, strangely enough, in that time. What a lovely ball from Beckenbauer.
Sanino. Off a defender, but the ball's still in play. Lenarduzzi picks it up.
I think there's an example, Jim, of you know, we say these long passes don't go anywhere, but that was a beautifully thought, beautifully placed pass, absolutely perfect. It must have traveled 40 yards in the air.
Vancouver trying to get the equalizer, and the shot picked off by Birkenmeyer. That was by Leonard Doozy. Leonard Doozy was a member of the original Vancouver Whitecaps. He's the only one still on the team. As we say, he's from Vancouver. They love him out there, the hometown boy, and he's still only 23 years old. Was voted the North American Soccer Player of the Year last year. By the way, that honor is going to go, we believe, we know, as a matter of fact, to Rick Davis of the Cosmos this year. Congratulations to Ricky.
That's sort of Citizens Award, is it, Jim Lee?
Bang! Does that go fast? You heard it. You don't want to get your face in the way of that ball. Here's Valentine at age 21. Lots of good young players in the league. A few years ago in the North American Soccer League, most of the good players were well into their 30s. Not so anymore. There were a lot of lone players in previous years. There are still some of them. Alan Ball is one, but fewer all the time. Most of the players are under exclusive contracts to the teams they play for in the NASL. Mourinho, for example, he's a player in his middle 20s and one of the best from Brazil. But he plays exclusively for New York. Liverich now. Oh, not too good on that one, Mark.
Again, the Cosmos passing looking a bit ragged at the moment here. In fact, the whole play is looking a bit ragged, and the Cosmos are allowing Vancouver perhaps to slow this game down, which is certainly to Vancouver's advantage.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I think the Cosmos know they have to win this game, right? The Vancouver have a second chance in the mini game. Cosmos have to win this game. They know they want that third goal. Vancouver feel that they might be able to steal a goal to tie it, and then of course anything can happen once the game's tied.
That was a beautiful little steal at the other end by Ricebergen before he brought the ball downfield, wasn't it? Here's Rick Davis. Valentine intercepted him, but now Naskins has it for New York. Mourinho again. Brazilian loves to shoot, remember, but not this time. Back to Davis. Nice little pass back to Mourinho again. Into the middle. Here's Naskins with a shot, but too high.
It's a bad miss by Naskins. That really should have been put away. But a lovely move by the Cosmos. Mourinho to Canalia to Naskins on his left foot. Unmarked in front of goal. Straight in front of goal there. There comes the ball across. Look at the space he's got. Left-footed shot. 3 feet over the bar.
So the Dutchman, who's been out with injuries, had a great opportunity there.
This is not the Naskins that we expect to see this afternoon. He's been strangely out of touch. His passing has been going astray, and he certainly won't be very happy with missing that one.
As we said, in his first year with New York, and he didn't even play the entire year, he was named most valuable player on the team. Not at that moment, however. Here comes Bogey, the possession man, the assist man, getting it to Mourinho, the defender who likes to shoot. Down again towards Naskins, who'd like another chance. He heels it off one of the Whitecaps. I think it went over the sideline.
He's won himself a corner, I think.
A corner or a throw-in.
Yeah, we can't quite see from here, but I think
it would be a throw-in if it went over the sideline, a corner kick if it went over the end line. It's going to be a corner kick.
Yes, from the position of the referee, it is a corner. No, he's giving a throw-in.
Okay, now it's a throw-in. What we thought in the first place. Moving. Whistle, I think that was for moving along the line.
I don't understand that. He moved along the line, but he moved back towards his own goal line. You usually don't pay any attention if you're losing yardage on it.
But it might have put him in a better position being down in the corner there. Okay, there is the throw-in for New York. And there is the loss of the ball. Weimark kicking it away, but again, into touch over the sideline. And it'll be a throw-in for the Cosmos. They lead 2-1, 29 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in the regulation game. Cosmos hoping to hold on to this lead and force another 30-minute game. Of course, we'd be staying for that after the briefest of intermissions. Mourinho getting it back to Beckenbauer. Here is the Kaiser, the field general, letting him set it up to decide what the tempo and the pace should be. He decides slow, apparently. A little early to go into the equivalent of the four-corner offense, isn't it?
Yeah, a little dangerous.
Well, Ricky headed that one, but right to Kenyon.
Ricky Davis did very well to get that ball at all. It wasn't well placed. He had to run a long way. And, of course, when you're moving at full speed, it is difficult to make that ball stick to you or make it do what you want to do. Now, Ricky Davis, of course, is out of position now. The ball has gone to Willie Johnson, the man he should be marking.
Okay, Ray Lewington, number 2, hasn't been in the game much. He just knocked it back there. And now we have Valentine with the ball. Over to Willie Johnston, the volatile Scot, former World Cup player. Heeling it back to the Cosmos. Gave it right to Naskins.
That is one of the problems with a back heel. It can be a tremendously deceptive pass, but you often deceive your teammates as well.
Okay, so the Cosmos have the ball. Mourinho overlapping, as he always does. moving up from the defensive position over to Sanino again, who always plays on the right, virtually always. Sanino again going by himself. He wanted to get it to Canaya, but over the end line, it'll be a corner kick.
He got a corner. Tremendous acceleration again, Jim. I thought he pushed it too far over the line, but two of these long loping paces of his, and he got to it and bounced it off the defender.
Derek Posse warming up on the sidelines for Vancouver. In the North American Soccer League, each team may use 3 substitutes. If you come out, you can't come back in again. If you're thrown out of the game, that's it. Your side plays with 10 men.
Now this may be interpreted as a moderately defensive change, because Weimark has been playing as an out-and-out forward. We'll see where they put Posse, whether he goes up front or whether he goes in midfield.
Derek Posse replacing a very good possible scorer in Trevor Weimark. The header went to Alan Ball.
Bogicevic, of all people who we've been commenting on, will not seem to take shots. Got, I would think 16 yards out in the penalty area and took a very strong header, which completely fooled Parks, and it's gone away for another corner.
Derek Posse.
Well, Mourinho again, he's not having much luck with these hard shots.
From the lightning foot of Francisco Mourinho, it's 2-1.
Some guys never.
The score remains the same. The Cosmos 2, Vancouver Whitecaps 1. 26 minutes, 55 seconds remaining in the regulation game. The must-win situation for New York, but Vancouver has the ball in the blue. Moving from left to right. Look out for Posse. He just came into the game, and he takes a shot. Birkenmar picking it off. Derek Posse is an offensive threat. In fact, in 1977, 2 years ago, he was co-leading scorer on the team. Not so much since they've added some top international stars. There's Trevor Weimark, who came out of the game. See, he's got his left ankle wrapped up there, so apparently it is an injury situation.
Yeah, and they've merely replaced him. They haven't done any changing around of the team. They put Posse in Weimark's place, so Posse will be playing up front as one of the spearheads alongside Kevin Hector.
Posse had a good career in England, played with Tottenham Hotspurs, with Millwall, Crystal Palace, Leyton Orient. Do you say Millwall or do you say Millwall or something like that?
No, we say Millwall.
Millwall.
I mean, it's spelt like that. We never mess about with pronunciations.
Of course not. Okay, the Cosmos in white. That's Rijsbergen, their Dutch defender who had been out with an injury, has been very much in the ballgame today. Now Franz Beckenbauer playing at sweeper, a defensive position today, rather than his normal midfield for the Cosmos. But his great gains for Germany were at the sweeper position. Liberich now with the ball for New York. Getting it to Bogicevic, who actually took a shot a minute or two ago. Naskins, who missed the shot a couple of minutes ago that perhaps he should have made. Back to Naskins again. What a great player he is, with the injured hand, the separated shoulder just healing, with the serious groin injury he picked up in the Tulsa game last Sunday night.
In fact, the more you think about it, the more you wonder how he's able to play at all.
That's right. Liberich again going down.
Well, Liberich again trying to do this turning movement on the ball, and Parsons getting there just at the same time, and of course Liberich being fouled. Otherwise, Liberich is away with that ball.
Again, a direct free kick for New York. They lead 2-1, 25 minutes exactly now remaining unofficially in this game. If you like this game, we may have another. Stick around. Ricky Davis. Davis still kicked away by Lenarduzzi over the side.
Again,
should be a throw-in for New York.
Tremendous shot by Ricky Davis. It was blocked almost immediately, and it sort of dropped dead in front of him.
Don't forget, next week, the Soccer Bowl live, and it's live also on the Pacific Coast. Don't forget that. Kicked away by Vancouver in the person of John Craven.
And more trouble for Vancouver from Sanino on the right wing there. Forward pushed through to him by Ricky Davis, and again absolutely outpacing Lenarduzzi. He's won another corner kick.
And just one more reminder that live Soccer Bowl next week on the West Coast will come to you at 11 o'clock in the morning, so set the alarms. He's used to sleeping on Saturday. Vancouver under a little pressure at the moment, trailing 2-1. 24 minutes now left in regulation. Mourinho with the throw-in. Bogi from Yugoslavia. Liberich, the American, now to Mourinho again. Another whistle.
Mourinho tipping the ball up in the air, just about to run around Alan Ball, who, let it not be forgotten, already has a yellow card, and sort of creamed out of the play by Alan Ball. Free kick to the Cosmos.
I understand that the word from the sidelines is it's just a slight Charlie horse. We'll find out about that from Vern Lundquist when we have a chance. As Sanino to Ricky Davis. Davis again. Bokicevic tried to give and go with Davis.
They tried a double give and go. The first one worked beautifully. The second one was a little off key, I'm afraid.
Here's Lenarduzzi overlapping down the left side from his defensive position. He's got Hector in the middle, along with Derek Posse, who came in as a substitute for Weimark, remember. And there it goes over the end line. Bird, what is the story down there?
Jim, we've got Trevor Weimark who came out. Trevor, what is the injury exactly?
I've gone over on my ankle and went over on it after about 10 minutes in the first half, and it's gradually gotten worse, and it's pretty swollen now.
Canalia with a shot. Blocked. The ball's still loose, but here comes Vancouver, picking it up. Sorry to interrupt you, Vern, but Giorgio Canalia very nearly had his third goal of the afternoon for a hat trick.
And again, it was Sanino who did cause all the problems by breaking loose on the right wing there.
And you did hear Weimark say he just turned over his ankle, so possibly he could play in the so-called mini-game if it develops. Here's Sanino on the left side now. You seldom see him there.
And that, again, winning another corner kick, Jim.
The attendance, official attendance, 44,109. The Cosmos go over 1 million in total attendance for the year. Okay, you saw a little replay of that one, and here's Mourinho again. Over 1 million in home attendance, by the way. Liberich almost getting through. Sanino now. And Mourinho. And Lenarduzzi taking over again for Vancouver. But where's the Vancouver attack?
Of course, the reason Lenarduzzi is over on this side of the field now is because Sanino has switched wings and Lenarduzzi has followed him.
Well, that was Nelson Moraes.
I don't think Nelson Moraes is going to get away with that. I think the yellow card is going to be brandished right in his face for that. It was a rugby tackle, or a football tackle, if you like, on Willie Johnston.
I was going to say, Nelson Moraes must have been watching too many American football games. That would have been a nice tackle in the NFL, not in the North American Soccer League. Can't use your hands in this game. Only the goalie can do that.
Here we have an example of a free kick coming up. Mourinho again standing on top of the ball there, which is a... Cosmos evidently are going to challenge Vancouver to do something about this, because they're not putting up a wall. They're giving him all the shot of the goal.
That is unusual. Ball getting it to Willie Johnson. Now back to Ball. He's got a little opening there into the middle with the center that's headed away by Beckenbauer, but headed back into play by Valentine, but taken away by the New York Cosmos. Mark Liberich to Sanino again. Canalia's behind him. He tried to get... If he has a fault, would you say that's it? He tries to force it a little too much sometimes.
Well, he tried to run between two players, and he very nearly got away with it, too. And he's at it again here.
There's Sanino by himself.
Canalia knocked down. Canalia's not happy about that. That ball was pushed through for Canalia to run onto, but before he could even start his run, he was knocked down. He's remonstrating with the referee about that now. But
because the game goes on.
Exactly.
Game going on with Vancouver in possession. Alan Ball. There's Canalia. Now Alan Ball getting it to midfield, and now Valentine moving it down to the 35-yard line to Derek Posse, who replaced Weimark. Hector really has been marked very closely and very well in this game.
By Nelson Moraes. Yeah, that's surprise coupling. I couldn't have predicted that before the game. Moraes has done a pretty good job on it.
It's non-stop action in soccer, except for injuries. Here comes Beckenbauer. Franz Beckenbauer, one of the game's great players, with the shot. It's still in play. Another save by Parks. And that was Johan Neeskens with that shot.
Two good saves by Parks. Beckenbauer running so elegantly through the middle area. He looks almost like an ice skater moving smoothly through the middle. Then he gets off this tremendously powerful shot.
That was Canalia.
Good idea from Canalia. He got the ball from Liberich. Tried to backheel it. This is Beckenbauer coming through the middle there, and look at this shot, got off so quickly, no chance for Parks to hold that. He knocks it down, and then it's Neeskens with a shot, which Parks does hold.
19 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the regulation game. There's Neeskens, the great Dutch star, veteran of many World Cup games, as are so many of the Cosmos. Mourinho deciding to start it over again, getting it back to Bergenmeyer, the goalie. Not a bad idea. Now Ricky Davis. Cosmos lead by 2-1. If they win it, we'll have a 30-minute game to decide who will go to the Soccer Bowl. If that 30-minute game doesn't do it, and it's not sudden death, it's a full 30 minutes no matter what. If that doesn't do it, we'll have a shootout. I think most people would prefer to see it decided in that 30-minute game, because it's kind of tough for anybody to lose a chance to go to the Soccer Bowl on a shootout. We have two men warming up at the sidelines for Vancouver, John Samuels and Bob Balaitho.
Again, you have to wonder what this signifies. Whether this signifies that Vancouver is saying, well, it doesn't look like we're going to win this game. We're going to take some players out and save them for the mini game. Or whether it's simply an attempt to put in fresh players and win this game.
Okay, each team, remember, had to name 16 players who were eligible to play in the game before the action started here this afternoon, although there are more than that on the squad.
Well, Naskins again looking strangely out of touch there. He took that ball and he ran as though he got all afternoon. It was just whisked away from him, from behind him. It's very unusual to see Naskins beaten in that sort of physical challenge.
You saw the unofficial clock there. Here comes Valentine. There's Hector. A rare chance for him. New York Cosmos 2, the Vancouver Whitecaps 1.
Action photography is easy with the Minolta XG1 35.
Johan Naskins is down on the field, the star of the New York Cosmos. Now, he suffered from a separated shoulder, and when he went down, it looks like he may have hurt that again.
Yeah, he got in a tussle. This was a tussle with John Craven. Now, Craven tried to push the ball back to the goalkeeper. Naskins, as he goes for everything, went for everything, and it's on the fall here. You can see him landing and bouncing on this so-called soft artificial turf. This is Naskins on the right there, and he's just getting the ball. Parks grabs it beautifully. Down he goes, and you can see that does not look like a happy fall on a right shoulder.
All right, Paul, we'll be back with more NASL soccer after this word coming up right now from our local stations. Well, Johan Naskins, the man who is down, has stayed in the game, but this man, Bob Balaitho, number 10, has come in for Vancouver to replace Parsons. Another substitution for Vancouver, number 8, John Samuels, for Ray Lewington.
Well, those are two straightforward substitutions, Jim. A fullback for a fullback and a midfielder for a midfielder. So there shouldn't be any tactical changes resulting from those substitutions.
Vern Lundquist has something for us on the sidelines. Okay, Vern.
Jim, we talked to Tony Waiters, the coach, and asked him if these substitutions were being made in anticipation of a mini game, and his quick reply was, what mini game? They hope to win in regulation.
Okay, well, if they're going to win, they need 2 goals at least because they're down 1. It's the Cosmos 2, Whitecaps 1. 17 minutes and 5 seconds remaining unofficially in the game. Look out, an opportunity for Vancouver. Posse there in the middle. And now Samuels, who just came into the game, he's a midfielder, but he's scored a lot of goals in his day. Trying for Hector, but too long. Also, it was too long for Ball. Going across the end line, and Naskins was knocked down again.
Knocked down again, this time by Willie Johnson. Some confusion in the Cosmos defense there, saved by a very crude-looking tackle by Mourinho at the last minute there. He was rather lucky not to give away a foul in the penalty area there. He had to do something because a player was loose, but...
There's Tony Waiters, the head coach of the Whitecaps. Somewhat unusual. He was a goalie in his day. Played much of his career for Blackpool, England.
Yeah, that is unusual. There aren't many goalkeepers who go on to become coaches, funnily enough.
More injury time. Moraes is down now. Cosmos lead 2-1. The veteran Nelson Moraes on his feet again after a slight injury there. The ball just coming back into play with 16 minutes, 30 seconds left unofficially in the regulation game. Cosmos leading 2-1, and Terry Garbutt has come into the game for the Cosmos, replacing Johan Naskins. Naskins, who has been playing with injuries, who was knocked down hard a couple of times. You see him just walking down the sideline. He can play in the so-called minigame, however. Now, Cosmos have used 2 substitutes. Vancouver's used all 3 of theirs. There's Mourinho.
Some magic from Willie Johnson out on the left wing there. Sheer persistence, getting past 2 players about 3 or 4 times. Tremendous ball control this man has. There he is.
Cosmos would be so much more comfortable with another goal. It's only a 1-goal lead, remember. And when Vancouver scored in the first half, it came with really dramatic suddenness. Happened in about 5 seconds. Here's Kevin Hector with the ball. What a great job Moraes has done on him today. You can tell simply by the few times that we've mentioned his name. He hasn't been in the game that much.
Yeah, he hasn't. I don't think he's had a shot on goal, has he? If I can recall.
Certainly not a good one. It was a forced effort.
Well, that time, of course, it was this man, Bogicevic, who he had to cope with. Bogicevic just ran him into the corner and would not get out of his way. And finally, Kevin Hector ran the ball over the line for a goal kick for the Cosmos.
I don't know what Bogey's hobby is, but it's certainly not shaving. At least not on the day of the game.
Not on game days, no. That chant again, Jim.
All right, Cosmos in white. Vancouver getting possession again. Not very definitely. Now they've got it. Here's John Samuels, who just came into the game. Samuels, a 33-year-old Englishman. They call him the General. When he's in the game, he normally takes over as the field leader. Look out, a steal by Balaito, another substitute. There's Rick Davis. These men who have played all the way certainly have to be more tired.
Beautifully played by Rick Davis. Beautifully played.
Here comes Liverich, all by himself. There was Terry Garvin in it for a moment. Now Liverich getting it back out to Davis. It was a beautiful play by Ricky.
It certainly was. He took a very difficult ball. He controlled it, and he pushed it all the way out to Liverich on the right wing here. On the right wing, I'm getting my lefts confused. This is the left wing here.
All right.
Sounds like a political discussion.
Yes, that's right. Right wingers and left wingers, and strikers down the middle. It's 2-1. Let's go down to Vern quickly.
Jim, we checked with Ray Klevecka, the coach of the Cosmos, on Johan Neeskens, and his shoulder has been re-injured. They're taking him to the dressing room as a precaution. They think if there is a mini game, he can come back and start in that one.
Okay, as we said, one of the toughest soccer players in the world. That's been his reputation for a long time, and he's proven it here in America so far. You used to hear people say that so-and-so was coming to America to play out his career, to make a lot of money, and perhaps implied was that he wouldn't play as hard as he used to. That isn't true. If it ever was true, it's certainly not true these days in the North American Soccer League. There is Professor Julio Mazet. Before you write me a letter and say it should be Julio, he is of Brazilian, therefore Portuguese extraction, and they say Julio. Okay, here are the Cosmos. Leading by 2-1. There's Terry Garvin, veteran Englishman, possibly playing his last year. To Beckenbauer, back to Garvin again. Over on the side to Sanino. Garvin again. Okay, here's Beckenbauer. Quinalia. Watch that turn. Got Beckenbauer with him. Now back to Davis. Beautiful moves by Beckenbauer there. The gentle touch. It's the Cosmos leading 2-1. 12:44 to go.
The Fiat Strada will go well over 300 miles on a tank full of gas. That's a lot farther than the gas engine Rabbit.
Thanks a lot. Say, what is this?
Strada. The Fiat Strada goes farther than a Honda Civic 1200.
Hey, what is this? Strada.
It goes farther than a Dodge Omni.
Strada.
What'll it be? Nothing. I'm just dropping them off.
The Fiat Strada, another Italian work of art with remarkable mileage.
There you see the unofficial time remaining in the regulation game. Just over 12 minutes. If the Cosmos, who now lead 2-1, win this game, we go to another 30-minute game. It will be 1-1 in this Conference Championship Series. Vancouver having won Wednesday night out on the west coast of Canada. And so the 30-minute game will decide it and decide who will go to the Soccer Bowl on this field next week. The Cosmos, of course, are the defending champions in the league. Vancouver has never gotten to the Soccer Bowl. The struggle for the ball at midfield, and it's Bogey coming up with it. Rick Davis over to Sanino. Sanino seems to be trying to take it easy a little bit, perhaps saving himself for the mini game. He's been very active all of this game so far. Headed by Canalia.
Yeah, not quite sure what Canalia was trying to do with that. Difficult ball for him to control. I think he was trying to sort of flick it back over his head because he knew Liverich was behind him. Well, it didn't work this time.
It certainly says something that Wednesday night the Cosmos only had 9 shots altogether. The day they've had 20 so far. But Vancouver has the ball right now. They trail 2-1. 11 minutes left. That's Johnston, the Scot.
Well, and again, Mourinho saving the day there because Kevin Hector and another attacker running in there, Carl Valentine.
There's Dennis Stewart on the sidelines, resting himself for possible play in the second game here this afternoon, remember. Stay with us for that if it happens. There's John Samuels. He played for Arsenal. Saw him in helping to win the FA Cup back in 71, I guess it was, in England. Played in the same team with Bob McNabb, who is the assistant coach now of the Vancouver Whitecaps. So, the offensive team having put it over the end line, it'll be goal kick for the Cosmos, putting it into play. Birkenmeier, the goalie, who came fairly late in the season from West Germany and has carried them into the playoffs with great efficiency.
Yeah, I think Birkenmeier's made a big difference to the Cosmos defense. He's provided a solidity in goal, which really increases the confidence of all the other defenders. They have a lot of confidence in Birkenmeier.
That time he decided just to have the long, high punt, kicking it out of trouble. thinking the other team bring it all the way down. There's 9 minutes, 55 seconds remaining in the regulation game. Mark Liberich with the ball now to Canalia. Over to Bogey, making sure of everything. Canalia again with the shot.
A little bit too far out. Example of perfect positioning by Parks there. They really didn't have to do any more than just sort of glide that ball down to his feet, and it was a well-struck ball by Canalia, but Parks perfectly positioned to handle it masterfully.
Giorgio Canalia, with all those points, as you see, did not lead the league in total points this year, but he did lead it in number of goals scored. You know, you get 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. Okay, here comes Vancouver. John Semmels.
Suddenly there's a lot of room for Vancouver defenders to start moving forward, which means the Cosmos, I think, must be relaxing either consciously or unconsciously here.
Bad time for relaxation with 9 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in this must game for them. Okay, Bogey just a marvel at keeping possession of the ball. Getting it down now to Canalia. Spinning off his foot back to Vancouver. Soccer balls take funny bounces too sometimes. Here comes
Kevin Hector down again after that tackle with Nelson Moraes.
Moraes chasing the ball, but it goes into touch or out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for Vancouver. You must throw it with both hands from back overhead. Down on the field.
Yeah, well,
Vancouver, Kevin Hector.
Kevin Hector, he tackled with Nelson Moraes. Kevin Hector's sort of grinning about this, huh?
Or grimacing. Which?
It looked more like a grin than a grimace to me.
I'll take your interpretation. You're the expert here. Polite, though. You've just joined us. The New York Cosmos lead Vancouver 2-1. Cosmos are in white, Vancouver in blue. We have 8 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the regulation game. We're summing up again since we've just gone past 4 o'clock in the East. So again, if you just joined us, if the Cosmos win this game, we have another 30-minute game coming up.
Well, there's no question, Jim, but over the last 3 or 4 minutes, Vancouver are doing most of the attacking, and they're doing it in a much more systematic way. Reisbergen finally collects the yellow card. Mourinho doing the right thing, pushing him away from the referee. Get away from there before you get yourself thrown out. I'm surprised, actually, that Reisbergen has been able to hold on that lock. Reisbergen moving in front of the player, and definitely, no question about it, applying an elbow there as he moved away.
Now Canalia moving in, I think, also to sort of protect.
You've got to get when players in the heat of the moment, when they're likely to say something stupid to the referee, and we have the same rules in soccer that they do in baseball about what you can say to a referee or an umpire. Get them away from him as quickly as possible.
Of course, if you're thrown out here, your team can't substitute for you, nor would he be able to play in that 30-minute game. The center for Vancouver, picked off by Beckenbauer, back to the goalie Birkenmeyer.
Again, John Craven, the man who scored the goal, the defender, was up there to head that ball, and it went over his head to Beckenbauer, but he's moving up on these free kicks and corner kicks.
Lovely touch of Beckenbauer, even when he's just starting the things moving.
The ball's like cotton wool when it arrives to Beckenbauer. It's soft, it doesn't run away from it. It's a silky touch he has. It's beautiful to watch.
Which is even more difficult, isn't it, on the artificial turf than on real grass? It's harder to slow that ball down.
Much bouncier, this turf, than grass.
Okay, Vancouver trying to get something going again. First, they've got to get possession, and they have it now. Alan Ball, number 23. He's their key man on setting things up. Mourinho in there to grab it off for the Cosmos. 7 minutes, 10 seconds unofficially left. Ricky Davis now. They haven't gone into a defensive posture, but they certainly are trying to slow it down, let the clock tick away if it wants.
Both teams must be thinking in terms of the mini-game now, and of course that's 30 minutes of what is going to be very tense, a very nervously charged play, so you really don't want to waste any energy now.
And again, that will not be a sudden death situation. It's a full 30-minute game. In other words, it could end up 2-1 or whatever. Coming across now to Bogey. The Bogey man. Lofting it in nicely to Liberich. Chipped forward and into the stands.
My word, how strong that boy Liberich is. He was running full speed. Kenyon came across to cut him off, hit him, and bounced off him. I don't think Liberich even broke his stride. Kenyon's a big man.
Throw in for the Cosmos. And a whistle.
I think Liberich offside on that return ball from Garvin.
Offside, meaning he did not have 2 defenders between him and the goal line when the ball was passed to him, so it'll be Vancouver's ball with unofficially 6 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the regulation game. Well, if that other game comes to pass, it'll be the first one we've seen, Paul. And there have been very few of them played in the league so far. Last year was a sudden death situation. Yes. So the strategy will be something brand new for both teams.
Yeah, we had a mini-game here, which I saw. It wasn't televised, of course, last Sunday, which the Cosmos won rather easily against Tulsa. They won't find it quite so easy, assuming it goes to the mini-game, against this team, Vancouver.
All right, watch out for Kevin Hector. He's still being marked so closely by the veteran Moraes. Moraes has played a marvelous defensive game, but there's still some time to go in the regulation. Look at the goal! It's all tied up. Again, the lightning thrust off the head of Willie Johnston.
Well, again, I think one might have seen that coming, because there's no question but the Cosmos were allowing Vancouver much more space than they should have had, and allowing them to put attacks together when they should have been closing them down.
All right, let's have a look at that.
This low cross and a low cross on the right. Finding, is that Willie Johnson inside? Yes, it is. Yes. Inside a defender. Zunino trying to close this man down here.
The pass from Carl Valentine.
Carl Valentine is a beautiful low thing, and a diving header there from Willie Johnson. A very similar goal to the first goal, in fact, they got.
One more look.
As you see from Birkenmeyer's point of view here. He's all tense, he's waiting for this. Here comes the low cross. Now all he's going to see is that header diving in there, and there's really not much Birkenmeyer can do about that. You can't blame him for that one.
So it's all tied up, and both Vancouver goals have come with lightning suddenness. We now have 4.5 minutes left in the regulation game. Now, should this game end in a tie, we will have sudden death to decide this game before we might have the other game.
And the Cosmos must be surely regretting those chances that they've missed, particularly in this half. They've had two good chances, one by Naskins and one by Davis, where they've shot over the bar. They must be regretting those misses now.
Now there's a few boos coming from the home fans at the Cosmos, and the home fan support is very important in this game. They feel it out there. That goal came at 84:30 of time by Willie Johnson, as we said. Assist given to both Leonard Ducey and Valentine. Valentine with the beautiful cross. Now Mourinho with the ball. Remember, the Cosmos can still win this. There's still time. 3 minutes, 51 seconds. Bogey. Over to Liverich. Liverich in the corner. We'll try to center it. We should think. No, he's going to keep it for a while. Now he centers it toward Kanaya. Too long. Headed away. Still in play, and over the sideline it'll be a throw-in for the Cosmos. 3.5 minutes to go in the game. It's 2-2. Franz Beckenbauer now. To Mourinho. He shoots from there a lot. That's it. Lost it in for Kanaya. But kicked away by Bob Leonarduzzi.
One of those hairline decisions, whether those players were offside or not. The linesman said no, play on, and Canalia just had it whipped away from him.
But since Vancouver kicked it over the end line, it's a corner kick by Rick Davis for the Cosmos. Along the ground to Mourinho. And now Vancouver taking it over. Boy, would they like to win this in regulation and not have to go to sudden death or mini games or anything else. Well, they've tied it up. And there's a call to be a free kick for Vancouver. Foul call on the Cosmos with 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. There you see, under 2:50 now. So, should it end in a tie here, we'll have sudden death. If that doesn't do it, we'll have a shootout. If at the end of either one of those things, there's Willie Johnson limping now, the man who scored the most recent goal in the game. And Bolaito now, the overlapping defender coming down. He's got Moraes on him, shoulder to shoulder they go. Here's Bolaito, outrunning Moraes for the moment. Melcy maybe getting a little tired. We'll be back, it's all tied. 1 minute, 39 seconds remaining in the regulation game. All tied up. One of these teams will move on to next Saturday's Soccer Bowl. But only one. The Cosmos have to win this game and then win another 30-minute game. If Vancouver wins this game alone, then they go to the Soccer Bowl. And it's all over for New York. Vancouver with the ball now with 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. Kevin Hector there, number 11. Back out to Valentine. Valentine, who set up the last goal with a beautiful cross. And now kicked into touch by Mark Liverich.
I think it'd be true to say that most of the legs on that field, they're feeling pretty heavy by now, Jim. There's some very hesitant-looking play going on at the moment.
Now looking if anybody's going to score, it probably will be Vancouver with only 50 seconds remaining in the regulation. Bolaito getting it into the middle. Look out for John Samuels.
Again, Bolaito really not challenged, allowed to get that center across when somebody should have been much tighter on him, cutting off his angles on that one.
Under 40 seconds now, another throw in by Bolaito to Kevin Hector, marked by Moraes as he has been all day. And again, into touch, charged against Cosmos, so that he's yet another throw in by Bolaito, but this time he's going to allow Willie Johnson to do it. Probably a set play coming up here.
Yeah, Willie Johnson has a longer throw. It's not a line drive type throw. You see Roger Kenyon, the defender, is running up into the penalty area. In fact, Vancouver's sending a lot of people forward on this one.
Unofficially, 20 seconds left in this game, and then we go to sudden death into the middle, headed away by Moraes. Bolitho going for the ball, a whistle, and it'll be a free kick for the Cosmos. The clock running down, time still going. Looks like 5 seconds. Mark Liberich getting it chewing out from the referee. 3, 2, 1, and there it is. Well, he didn't blow it yet. No, he's calling it free kick. Or is that it? Yep, that's it. The end of regulation time. The New York Cosmos 2, the Vancouver Whitecaps 2. We now will go very shortly to sudden death to decide this game. After that, there may be yet another game. Stay with us.
This was a sudden one, as you said, Jim, right out of the blue. A lovely cross here from Carl Valentine. Low, hard, moving faster, obviously, than it shows there. And a diving header from Willie Johnson, who's got inside, I think that's Reisbergen, the fullback there. And again, just under Birkenmeyer. Birkenmeyer diving, there's not much he can do about that. This is what Birkenmeyer saw. Of course, he saw Carl Valentine out on the right here. Defenders moving over to cut off his angles, but there's one. He just moves it to the side, and then this right foot cross. Diving header from Willie Johnston. Under Birkenmeyer's. That's the goal, really, that causes the Cosmos a lot of problems, because they were 2-1 up and coasting into the mini-game at that point. Now they've got to play extra time, and if they win that, the mini-game on top of that. In fact, we could even have, there's Mourinho. He looks happy, doesn't he? We could even have 2 shootouts here, Jim, actually.
That's certainly conceivable here this afternoon.
Jim, we've got Werner Roth, who is not as tired as his teammates. They have asked for moments to rest. You're the captain of this team. I know you're in agony on this bench with that last goal.
The last goal really is something that we tried to avoid for the rest of the half since we got into the lead, and it's something that in our situation we were just trying to win this game, trying to conserve as much energy as we could to go into the second game, to go into the mini game, and now they're back in the game. They seem to be much fresher than we are, having sort of conserved themselves in the second half, and all we can do now is go out and play, give it everything we have. This could be the last 1, 2, 3, or 15 minutes of our season, and everybody knows this is where it's resting, right here. Our whole year, all the effort, everything is hanging on this game, and there's no second game now. There's nothing just to score the first goal. That's all that's left.
Werner, do you look back now and look at those first 15 minutes when it was like buzzsaws around the Vancouver goal and think that perhaps that's cost you at the end of the game?
I'm sure looking back, you can consider that, because, as I said, Vancouver does look fresh. We might have given out much more energy than we wanted to, but you can't look back anymore now. Right now, the only thing we can look forward to is the next few minutes during this game, is to avoid making any mistakes whatsoever and to try to win it.
And yet I think back to what you just said, that Vancouver seems to be fresher, and I looked behind me at your teammates and their legs seem to have gone.
I think they might have played a more intelligent game. They came out in the second half. Even when we were down, they weren't pushing up, they weren't pressing. They just sort of, in the second half especially, tried to stay more relaxed. And even Pelé mentioned it on a bench to me. He said they just seem to be pushing the ball around and not necessarily exerting as much energy as we seem to. And it seems to be telling. It seems to be telling right now.
Okay, Werner, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Jim?
That was Werner Roth, the American captain of the Cosmos, who's been out all year with injuries. He played on their first championship team way back in 1972. And, of course, will be with them presumably next year. This is Tony Waiters, the head coach of the Whitecaps. And they certainly have played the patient game that they were talking about there, Paul. The Whitecaps have.
Yes, they have. On the other hand, I'm not sure that one can be logical about these sudden death overtime situations. I've seen enough of them to know that it isn't always the team that looks freshest that counts. I'm thinking particularly of the World Cup final in '78 last year between Argentina and Holland, when I would have sworn that Argentina were dead at the end of full time, and yet they came out in extra time and really ran Holland off their feet.
And of course their home crowd may have had something to do with that.
It has a lot to do with it. There are psychological factors here at work of which we what not.
Okay, it's sudden death overtime. 1 goal and it's all over. The Cosmos in white, Vancouver in blue. If the Cosmos win, we have another game. If Vancouver wins, it's all over for the day. And for the Cosmos, no changes in the lineups here. Cosmos in white, apparently a bit leg weary. We'll find out how leg weary here. 7.5 minutes in this direction. If there's no score by then, 7.5 minutes in the other. Taking their time setting something up. Nelson Moraes with the ball for New York to Rick Davis. At age 20, he shouldn't be totally exhausted yet. Some people think, though, that the more experienced veteran players last longer than the youngsters.
Well, they learn how to pace themselves. They learn when to run and how to run and when not to run and when to hide, when to lose themselves from the game.
We have Mark Liberich hobbling off to the side. Looks like he's going to have to come out or at least take a rest for a moment. So the Cosmos are playing with 10.
It's presumably a cramp, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, yeah. Cosmos with the ball. There's a look at Liberich writhing a bit on the sidelines with that presumed muscle cramp. Over to Rick Davis again.
The extraordinary thing about him is he's right in front of the Cosmos bench, and yet nobody's going to treat him.
Sanino with the ball now. Can you figure out what their tactics are here at the moment?
Caution, I would think.
Caution. And yet, the goal must be scored. There's Beckenbauer. One of the most important goals, if it happens, in the glamorous history of the New York Cosmos. The foul is called against Vancouver, against Kevin Hector, so it'll be a free kick for the Cosmos. Boris Bandov is coming into the game now to replace Liberich for the New York Cosmos.
Well, that, of course, is a detrimental change as far as their attacking power is concerned, because Bandov is a best a midfielder, if not a defender. Liberich was an out-and-out attacker.
Boris Bandov, a naturalized American citizen, into the game for the Cosmos. Well, it will be a fresh face and a fresh pair of legs for them as they lose the ball temporarily. No, they've lost it now to Vancouver, and here they come with their first thrust of the sudden death overtime. Hector by himself. He could have Moraes beat. He did, but it was Birkenmeier narrowing the angle, coming out and picking it off.
He had his defender beat, but he didn't have a good angle, and his shot wasn't that good either. Birkenmeier really didn't have too many problems with that one.
Both teams have used all their substitutes now. They have to play with the people they have. There's Lenarduzzi. Watch that ball. It's loose. Lenarduzzi still has it. Sanino all over him, and Birkenmeier falling on it.
Sanino again put through a long ball, a clever ball from Mourinho. And again, Sanino absolutely outpacing his defender.
Caught up in the excitement, I called Parks Birkenmeier. He is still Parks.
The wrong end of the field.
Birkenmeier's down at the other end, and he could have his problems shortly. Across the sideline, see who they give the throw in to. Throw in for the Cosmos. Sudden death overtime. We have 4 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the first half of sudden death overtime. The whistle, the foul called against Samuels. Free kick for the Cosmos. Vagicevic puts it into play. There's Samuels, against whom it was called. Over to Mourinho now. To Moraes, who really does seem to be heavy of leg. He's done a marvelous job marking Hector all afternoon, but he could be becoming a weak link. Can't be sure of that, though.
I think he took a ball right in the midsection there.
Yeah.
That's not exhaustion. That's a very painful blow, and you have to remember that not that long ago, Canalia had a very, very bad bruise in the groin area, which kept him out of games for the first time that I can remember. He's going for the ball here. There he comes. The ball is kicked, and it hits him absolutely right in the groin. He goes down immediately because that is where he had a very serious injury. Well, not a very serious injury, but a very painful injury about 3 weeks ago, and it kept him out of games. That's unusual for George.
Normal euphemism is he's had the wind knocked out of him, and we'll see how permanently that is. Now, by the way, remember, they've used all their substitutes. Should, by any chance, Giorgio have to leave the game,
he'll carry on.
Well,
now we may see a drop ball here, which is there.
There it is, kind of like a jump ball in basketball.
I don't know what he got for that. Just a free kick, I think.
Spun ball, it looked like. Here's Alan Ball, by the way, speaking of balls, number 23. He is aiming for Hector, headed away there, and just in the nick of time because Samuels was breaking in, headed away by Beckenbauer. We now have 3 minutes, 55 seconds remaining in the first period of sudden death. Sanino by himself. Dangerous here. Into the middle, but nobody there. But now here we have Ricky Davis. Davis with the ball, faking his man out, getting it into the middle, but kicked away by Derek Posse.
Good work by Davis. Deserved a better ending than that. Again, Sanino breaking free on the right, putting the ball across. Davis not being able to find a teammate.
Bogicevic with the ball, getting it back out to Terry Garbutt. They may lose it on this. Samuel's going for it, but no, Sanino still has some speed left.
Going the wrong way, unfortunately.
Well, but with the ball, he can set it up again. Sanino's played a marvelous game and has run at full speed almost all the way. Here's Beckenbauer. Watch his touch, just moving the ball downfield. Nicely timed pass over to the side. And here's Ricky Davis. Oh, much too high.
Beautiful work on the left leg by Boris Bandov, running that ball down, putting it through a defender's legs, giving Davis a good ball, and again, one of these chances just sort of wantonly wasted, blasted over the bar by Davis.
All right, You can't keep wasting them all day if the Cosmos want to stay alive.
No,
2 minutes.
One thing you've got to say about Vancouver is that they've used their chances very efficiently indeed. They haven't had that many, but...
There's the technical director. That's what we would call coach in American football, Julio Mazet, who until this year was known mostly as the mentor of the great Pelé and constant companion and friend of Pelé. Now took over the job when Eddie Firmani was fired, and by all accounts has done a very good job. But here comes Sanino now. Cosmos on the move, on the prowl, looking for that goal they must have. He's got Davis on the side, but it's knocked away by Roger Kenyon. John Samuels now.
Very difficult to get that ball through for Sanino. Immediately, cluster of 4 Vancouver defenders around him. He tried to push it through them, but that's not easy through 4 defenders.
All right, Bogicevic with a chest trap. There's Canaglia by himself. Was he onside?
He was
well, it didn't matter. Went over the
onside, but he couldn't catch up with that pass.
Here's Ray Kavlecka. Now he is the coach.
Up with that pass.
There's Ray Kavlecka. Now he is the coach of the Cosmos, but the coach on the Cosmos is not the same thing that it means in America.
The coach on the Cosmos, in effect, is not the coach.
Yeah.
The coach on the Cosmos is the technical director.
Kavlecka is in charge of training, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's almost safer to call Kavlecka the assistant coach.
All right, Kevin Heckner with the ball. Here's John Samuels. He's got a little room, a little space to operate in. Getting toward Posse, but Rick Davis is there.
Davis making solid contact now. That could be judged. Could be, I say, judged shoulder-to-shoulder contact with Posse there. He absolutely
I think it was. I think it was so judged, and I have a feeling maybe it was, in fact, that. Looked that way to me. All right, Vancouver in blue. It's all tied 2-2. We're in sudden death. 1 minute left now in the first period of sudden death overtime. That was on the side of the net. Got a few very scared oohs from the crowd.
Well, that was one of those crosses that, as it came over, didn't look dangerous, but suddenly you got the impression that it might have swerved in on the near post. And of course, Birkenmeier you can't cover the near post. You've got to be in the middle of your goal to cover both posts, and he had to move very suddenly to that, but it swung out of play before he got to the goal.
All right, Beckenbauer delicately moving it to Ricebergen, to Bogicevic. Bogi bringing it down. He's got Van Dolph and Canaglia, and over on this side he's got Sanino to Terry Garbutt. Garbutt lofting it towards the middle. Oh, Mourinho's got a shot. No, may have another. Back out again to Van Dolph. Bolitho kicks it over the side.
Again, bodies falling all over the place here. That's Craven down there. I think he took one of those hard shots again.
7 seconds on the unofficial clock on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that is Craven down. He's going to receive treatment here. And of course, injuries at this stage, at the end of this game, at the end of the first overtime period, begin to feel much more sore. They begin to hurt a bit more than they would do in the middle of a normal game.
John Craven, 31 years old, born in St. Anne's, England, where we were earlier this summer, as a matter of fact, for the British Open Golf Championship at Royal Lytham in St. Anne's. You're familiar with that territory, near Blackpool, I'm sure?
No, certainly not. I'm from the south, we know.
You never went up there?
Yes, I have.
Let's have a look.
Let's watch Mourinho at work here, getting the ball back again there after having lost it once, turning around, pushing it back. Ricky Davis, no, that's Bandolph, I'm sorry, and one of these sort of ping-pong rebound things just smashed out of play by Bolitho, putting it back in.
Unofficial clock showing 6 seconds. The throw in by Ricky Davis. Look out for Bogicevic, who takes one of his rare shots and puts it high.
Well, again, the shooting is costing the Cosmos very dear here because they're getting opportunities, but they keep putting, that's a fourth shot that has gone over the bar.
The clock shows no time, and there is no time. They'll change sides and go on for sudden death. Stay with us. He's going to suffer here today, but it could be a long while before it happens. If Vancouver scores in this sudden death, it's all over. If the Cosmos score first, then we go to another game. If nobody scores in the next 7.5 minutes, then we go to a shootout for this game. Rhythmic clapping by the Cosmos fans. Here, some 44,000 strong. Teams have changed sides, remember. Vancouver with the ball. Now the struggle for the ball, and the Cosmos get it. Here comes Bogicevic. Getting it down very quickly on the far side to Sanino. Sanino losing it. That was Roger Kenyon.
Roger Kenyon almost running himself into trouble. He didn't know Canali was lurking behind him. I think he was about to push that back to Phil Parks. He looked up, and what did he see? Not Phil Parks. Giorgio Canali.
Throw in by Terry Garbett for the Cosmos. Under 7 minutes now remaining in sudden death. Franz Beckenbauer, former great World Cup star for Germany, helped them win the Cup in '74. On the other side, we have Alan Ball, who helped England win the World Cup in '66. And around them, many younger players in this league, like Carl Valentine for Vancouver at age 21. Ricky Davis at age 20 for the Cosmos. Now, here come the Cosmos. Terry Garbett, a British veteran, moving it on the side to Sanino. Sanino faking his man out and losing control. Garbett trying to slide at the ball, not able to do it. Here comes Vancouver. They've got 4 men coming down. Carl Valentine, who assisted on the last ball, and now we have a whistle.
Pushed the ball past Reisbergen. Reisbergen just, well, we're going to say just stood there, but he might even have stepped into Valentine's path, whatever. There is Reisbergen. My God, he's had a tough afternoon, but he's been given a free kick given against him this time.
The other chaps have known he has been there, however. Vancouver with the ball. Over to Bob Balaito, a Canadian, who came in as a substitute here. He's a defender on the overlap right now, headed across the end line by Jose Moraes.
How tired they look there in defense there. That really wasn't a very dangerous looking cross, but because of hesitation on everybody's part, the goalkeeper not going for the ball, the defender's not. Desperation dive, giving away a corner by Moraes.
Temperature in the 80s here today, and it gets so hot on the artificial turf down there that you can hardly believe it. The save by Birkenmeyer. And Kevin Hector was ready.
He was ready. We see those defenders going up. That was Roger Kenyon, one of the centre-backs up there to head that ball. Again, not a particularly dangerous header, but the players are getting so slow to move to the ball now.
You saw the superimposition that Birkenmeyer's never played in a shootout. You think it's possible they might bring in David Bercic or Yassin for the shootout.
Bercic is the man on the bench here. That would be the one they'd have to bring in, but I'm not sure what David Bercic's experience in a shootout is.
Okay, we have 4 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the sudden death overtime.
Well, that's the
free kick.
Latest chapter in the ongoing struggle between Lenarduzzi and Sanino.
Changed it to a corner kick for the Cosmos, and they decide on a gentle corner kick this time into Sanino. There we have Bogicevic, and cleared by Vancouver, but only for the moment. And Reisbergen heads it out of bounds into touch for the Cosmos. Here comes Vancouver with 4 minutes of unofficial time left and another whistle. And they're calling a throw-in for, changed it to a throw-in for the Cosmos. I don't quite figure that one.
No,
obviously, Reisbergen knocked it out. Wide World of Sports coming up when we finish here today. Here's Bogicevic.
Oh, a lot of room in midfield.
Canaglia. Canaglia goes down.
In the area.
We have Sanino coming in behind him.
Referee is not going to call a penalty on that.
If he had called one of the serious fouls in the penalty area, remember, it would have been a penalty kick for the Cosmos.
This is Ricky Davis approaching with the ball on the right, which he hooks back to Sanino. No, this is Bogicevic.
Yes.
Pushing the ball through Canaglia. Well, you can judge for yourself. He certainly looked as though he was brought down from the rear to me.
Back to the live action. Sanino booting it across the end.
Marvellous effort from Sanino, and a lot of annoyance in the Vancouver defence that Sanino was allowed to sprint in and take that shot. Vancouver defenders, Kenyon particularly, I think, shouting there.
3 minutes left in this sudden death overtime. If no one scores, we'll go to the North American Soccer League shootout. We'll explain that to you. 5 men from each team taking shots one-on-one with the opposing goalie. Whoever gets the most into the net, winning the game. A controversial thing, the shootout, but it ends games that otherwise would end in ties. There are no ties in this league. And American soccer fans seem to like that by and large. Americans are used to decisions in their sports. 2.5 minutes now. Long boot downfield. That's going to go maybe all the way. Well, goalie.
Yeah, Fox had to say he came off the defender, so he had to handle that one. He doesn't seem too anxious to get the ball back into play quickly. We're going to have another long kick.
2 minutes, 15 seconds remaining now. Ricky Davis with the ball. Getting it to Garbett. Back in their own half of the field, moving it up towards Sanino. There he is. Battling for the ball with Lenarduzzi.
Yeah, well, inevitably Lenarduzzi. Those two have been at it all afternoon.
Under 2 minutes now in the sudden death overtime. Crowd booing, of course, whenever the opposing team, the visiting team, knocks it back to the goal.
Yes, they do that anyway. And of course, as I said earlier in the game, they dislike Parks because of his behavior in the earlier game here this season.
Okay. Cosmos in white. That's Mourinho. He hasn't been in it too much the last 10 or 15 minutes.
No, he's been playing very conservatively, paying a lot of attention to his defensive duties.
Ricky Davis getting it over to Moraes, to Sanino, to Garbett, to Beckenbauer, down into the middle to Canaglia. Kicked away by John Craven, who's played a good game today, in the middle. Boris Bandoff, number 18, with the ball for the Cosmos. He's a substitute. Over towards Canaglia, just up over the net. Tipped over by Phil Parks. The discouraged Canaglia. You saw that expression.
Oh, you're mentioning Craven playing on Canaglia. It's interesting this because those were two involved. Let's see what Mourinho can do.
We're nearing the shootout. There's under a minute now. Unofficially, look out for this one. Bandoff. The goalie coming out and saving it.
Good save by Parks, and again Alan Ball standing on the line behind him to cover him. Good defensive work by Vancouver. You can see why they've given up so few goals.
Okay. Parks booting it downfield because there isn't too much time. Hoping that something will happen for his side. The ball literally up for grabs as we have 35 seconds unofficially remaining. And then we go to the shootout. That's a free kick. You're not allowed to catch it like that, but there's a free kick.
The ball was already dead. It'd been whistled dead when he picked it up, yes.
Okay, Moraes, number 31. Just a few seconds left now, 20 seconds. There is time for a shot, though. Down to the middle, watch Canaglia. Nope, it's too long. Over the end line, it'll be a goal kick for Vancouver. Unofficially, 12 seconds left in the overtime. And then the shootout. And after the shootout, if the Cosmos win another game, I don't know whether they'll be standing by the time that one was over. Should it happen. There you see the unofficial clock. Is that it? That's it. And so Canaglia and company and all the rest will go to the shootout. Now here's how it works. Each team names 5 players to go one-on-one with the opposing goalkeeper. Now, these are not penalty shots. A penalty shot is where you put the ball on a spot. The goalie must stand on the line and not move his feet until you kick it. That's a penalty shot. The shootout is different. A player, starting from the 35-yard line with possession of the ball, does whatever he wants to try to get it into the net. He must shoot it within 5 seconds. The goalie, on the other hand, can come out, can stay on the line, can do whatever he wants. It's a one-on-one confrontation, literally a shootout. And now, after each team has had 5 shots, whoever has the most, obviously, is the winner of the game. If nobody has the most, they go on with sort of a sudden death shootout. So it's still tied at 2-2. The soccer ball in the balance. Watch now as the pass comes to him, the header, and this close they came to victory. But it was not to be. At the moment, Vern Lundquist is with Giorgio Canaglia. Vern?
Giorgio, I know that you are exhausted, a little bit let down, I'm sure. It's 50-50 at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, this is just a matter of luck now, I think. We're down to the shootout, and it's usually the goalkeepers win it. You know, you see that our goalkeeper is their goalkeeper.
And Birkenmeier has never been in one of these before.
He's never been in a shootout, and this is his first time. Let's hope that he does well.
I know that you worked on this yesterday in practice, though, with him, did you not?
Yeah, we tried some things out with him yesterday, and we hope that today we put everything to work.
Something interesting to me, you are not going to shoot in the first 5 in this shootout. Why is that?
I keep missing him in the shootout.
That's as honest an answer as we can think of, Giorgio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
As a matter of fact, Giorgio is 0 for 4 in shootouts.
Yeah, but Giorgio,
so
I have to give Giorgio credit in the shootout because the first shooter in the shootout, that is not an enviable task to have thrust on you. And I have seen Cosmos take shootouts, and I think in almost every one, it's been Giorgio who's taken it upon himself to go out and shoot first. Admittedly, he's missed, but at least he's had the guts to go out there and do it.
All right,
it's going to be Mourinho this time.
In an attempt to simplify this for you once again, if you're making a scorecard for the shootout, it would look like a baseball line score with the visiting team first, the home team on the bottom. Each time somebody scores, put a little 1 in there. There it is, just like your baseball scorecard. The visiting team goes first, and it's Willie Johnston. He's 2 for 2 on shootouts so far this year. Going against Birkenmeier, the goalie comes out. Here's Johnston, still with the ball. It's dribbling, and it's no goal.
Saved.
No goal.
Saved by Birkenmeier. Now, the point on that is that the goalkeeper can play that ball again. If that ball had looked as though it was going in, Birkenmeier could have got back and saved it. But he did well. He came out and he smothered that ball.
All right, now we'll have Mourinho, Francisco Mourinho, the Brazilian.
You'll see a different style here. Mourinho in the past has tried to chip the ball over the goalkeeper rather than shoot it under him. He has incredible skill at this, but on one occasion I've seen him land it right on top of the bar.
If he makes it against Phil Parks, perhaps the best goalie in the league, it will be advantage Cosmos and 1-0. He gets only 5 seconds, remember. There are large clocks in the corners of the field indicating that 5 seconds. Now what's going on here?
Well, the referees will be very, very careful to make sure that they understand the signals here, because we've had some certain problems with the timing here, where one player took a shot where he thought he had seconds left and the referee said no.
Yeah, principally in that Minnesota-Chicago game. Here comes Marino, 2 seconds, and it's saved. Saved by Parks, still 0-0.
Shot right into Parks. Now, that is what you see a lot of in these shootouts here. You see a lot of this. You can't really call this a save, although, of course, the goalkeeper is there, but the shot is made right into Parks here, absolutely straight at him. What Mourinho was trying to do is get his foot under the ball and get it over him, and he didn't succeed in any way at all that time.
Well, none of our audience in Vancouver will breathe on this one. Their hometown favorite, born near their stadium, Bob Lenarduzzi, going 1-on-1. He's 2 for 3 in shootouts, and he scored. Vancouver takes the lead 1-0 in the second round. The Cosmos now, though, with a chance to tie it up. And it looks like it'll be Franz Beckenbauer, yes.
It'll take a little bit of hesitation on Lenarduzzi's part, which throws Birkenmeier off. He gets it over his right shoulder in the end, put it over him. Well taken shot by Lenarduzzi.
Franz Beckenbauer, the Kaiser, hero of the 1974 World Cup for West Germany. He's 2 for 3 in shootouts so far this year.
And of course, he was the hero of the great Cosmos shootout against Minnesota last year when he got the winning goal in a very dramatic shootout.
But the man who tied it up in that shootout, Carlos Alberto, has been ruled out of the game for the rest of the year. Here comes Beckenbauer. Can he tie it up? Yes, it's all tied at 1-1.
Well, you have to wonder, when you see a player like Beckenbauer taking it all looks so easy, you have to wonder how anybody ever misses. Coolness personified, eyes on the ball, dribbling it easily ahead. Parks comes out, right-footed shot at the perfect moment. Just before Parks had realized what was happening, the shot is on its way, beautifully placed, exactly what he wanted to do.
West Germany's World Cup hero of 74 has tied it up. Now England's World Cup hero of 66, Alan Ball, tries to take the lead. And no, saved by Birkenmeier. Experiencing this shootout, remember, for the first time in his life. And you can see him breathe deeply.
Very quick reaction from Birkenmeier. Ball delaying his shot a little more than Beckenbauer. Now you see, the shot comes there. No, it doesn't. It's late, and down goes Birkenmeier very quickly just to block that ball away.
And now the Cosmos can take the lead in the shootout. It's going to be Sanino.
Sanino, we can be pretty sure, will try and dribble around the goalkeeper because he has the sort of speed to catch up with the ball and get off his shot within 5 seconds.
He's 2 for 2 in shootouts and won the game both times with them. Let's see what happens now. It goes around his man into the goal. Was it in time?
Yes, it was in time.
Yes. Sanino giving the Cosmos the lead by 2-1. We're in the shootout, and if they win this, we go to another 30-minute game.
Exactly what happens. Sanino knows that with his speed, he can hook the ball away from the goalkeeper. There he goes, round the goalkeeper, and he's got his time to get off that shot. There it is. Now, all that counts is getting off the shot. The time taken for the ball to get into the net doesn't matter.
Now we're going to go to young Valentine at age 21. For Carl Valentine, a very tough assignment, but he's 1 for 3 on shootouts. Trying to tie it up now for his team. No, another save by Birkenmeier. And the Cosmos are nearing victory in this game, but not yet. Not yet.
This one, if this one is scored upon, of course it'll do it. Now Valentine again shooting hard, but shooting too close to the goalkeeper. Birkenmeier right out in front of him, and the shot seems to go straight to him. Birkenmeier not giving him much of the goal to shoot at.
And now, Terry Garbutt can wrap it up for the Cosmos. If he scores, it's all over. You don't have to go any further because it'll be 3-1 with only 1 round left. Here's the moment, the fake, the shot, the Cosmos have won it! We'll go to the decider game of 30 minutes. An exhausted band of New York Cosmos have pulled it out in the shootout by 3-2 over Vancouver.
You've got to give Terry Garbutt a lot of credit on that, because Terry Garbutt is not the quickest player in the world, but he did a marvelous thing there. He faked his shot, but Phil Parks did not buy his fake, but Garbutt did not get discouraged by that. He looked, he saw where he could put the ball, and he did it beautifully. Very, very wonderfully cool piece of play by Terry Garbutt.
Terry Garbutt, a 33-year-old Englishman, who scored the winning shootout goal to beat Fort Lauderdale in the playoffs 2 years ago, has done it again. It's going to be a 10-minute rest period here, and it'll take us that long to get organized. I don't know about the ball clubs. Now remember, anyone who was on the 16-player roster submitted before the game today may play in the 30-minute game that is now to come, but no one else.
So we could see, we may get Naskins back, we may get Dennis Stewart back then. They theoretically have been resting from smallish injuries obtained during that game. They could come back for this mini-game.
Stewart only played, what, about 10 minutes, I think, of the game. So if he's fit, he's certainly well rested. And obviously, endurance is going to make the difference now. The big crowd at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Take a look at Terry Garbutt. Now, Terry Garbutt is moving the ball rather slowly. Terry Parks coming out. There's the fake. Now, Parks doesn't buy that at all. But it doesn't faze Garbutt. He sees where he can put the ball, and he does it absolutely beautifully. But almost, if there is such a thing as a classic way of taking a shootout kick, then that's it. See him running forward, not moving the ball very quickly. Now his fake doesn't shoot, but Parks hasn't moved. He just moves it a little to the right, gets his angle, and puts it past Parks' left shoulder.
And here, again. Incidentally, if you're
looking
wondering...
up, fake, no, Parks moving. Parks going slightly to his right, and at that point, Garbutt puts it over his left shoulder. That must be so satisfying. Such a satisfying goal for Terry Garbutt, who's had a very difficult season in many ways. He hasn't played a lot. He hasn't played nearly as much as he'd like to play. There's that fake. And there's that shot edging over there all the time. And Parks going with him. He put it past him very, very well indeed.
Those of you at home are wondering why Garbutt was put in that critical position, number 4 in the shootout. Well, it's because in his career, he is 5 for 6 now in shootout attempts. He's very good at it. It's that simple. We're going to take a break. A 30-minute game yet to come. Not sudden death this time, but a full 30 minutes. And if that fails, let's try another shootout.
No, a great deal. Cosmos seem to love making things difficult for themselves. This, I think, was their first goal, which Kinalia took and put under Phil Parks. This put them 1-0 up, and that was within about 10 minutes of the start, 8 minutes maybe, so it looked as though they were on their way there. This is the same thing again from another angle. Bogicevic pushing the ball off to Kinalia. Kinalia 1 or 2 touches with his right foot, and then a perfectly placed right-footed shot under Phil Parks as he came out. A nice goal, a clean goal, and one that looked as though it was going to put the Cosmos in the driving seat. But somehow or other, Vancouver got back into the game. And you see this free kick from Alan Ball floating over everybody, and the big defender, John Craven, rushing in, getting his right foot on it, and pushing it past Birkenmeyer on the left-hand post. So at that point, this is another angle at the ball coming over. Ball's already taken the free kick. And you'll see these two players come in here. Ricebergen a little bit behind, and it's Craven who gets his right foot. I mean, that's not really a very controlled shot. It's almost as though he's just swinging his foot at the ball, but it was good enough. At that point, Vancouver looked as though they were back in with a chance. Here we have Nelson Moraes setting Sanino loose on the right wing here. Now his speed, and he starts behind the defender here, Lenarduzzi. He just gets in front of him. Parks hesitant whether to come out. Ball pushed in front of him. Kinalia there again, pushed into the net with his right foot. 2-1 Cosmos. This is Nelson Moraes' long pass coming towards us here. So Sanino's running towards us here with this blinding speed of his, simply outpacing Lenarduzzi, touching it with his right foot, controlling, and then flicking it away with the outside of his left foot for Kinalia to scoop up with the inside of his right foot. A lot of inside of feet going on here. 2-1. Okay, that made it look as though the Cosmos were on their way, but of course it didn't work out that way.
Okay, well, that's a live shot you're looking at right now of the Cosmos fans preparing for this 30-minute game. Remember, it's not tomorrow or next week. It is this afternoon. They've got to decide the issue here because next Saturday is the Soccer Bowl, again live, again from this stadium, and an almost guaranteed sellout crowd of more than 75,000. First, however, this one must be decided. Let's take a look right now at the 4th goal in the game, as our staff works furiously in the videotape room to get these up one after another.
Yeah, well, this was the one that really shocked the Cosmos. I think there were 6 minutes left here. This was a cross by Carl Valentine, which got past everybody, and a diving header from Willie Johnston there, which in fact is the way he scored the first goal against them in Vancouver.
It was almost a duplicate of the goal the other night.
Yes, exactly. And it was a goal that almost could have broken the heart of the Cosmos. But they've shown that as a team they have spirit and they have fibre. They've come back from that. They survived, if you like, although I thought they had the better of the overtime when they looked really beaten at the end of full time. I thought they had the better of the overtime. They survived it, and they've won the shootout, which must give them terrific confidence and terrific enthusiasm for this 30-minute overtime game. Vancouver, on the other hand, playing in front of this yelling, screaming crowd supporting the Cosmos, must now be wondering exactly what they've got to do to put this game away.
No question of that. And this is a team, the Cosmos, which got to this point by this goal in the shootout. They were leading by 2-1 in the shootout in the 4th round of a scheduled 5, so to speak, when Terry Garbutt came on to take this shot, the 33-year-old Englishman who may be playing his last season right now, by the way.
I think it's extremely likely that he is, but he's so cool on this. He fakes a shot. Parks, I said he didn't buy it. He slightly did, but it really didn't affect the outcome of the thing, because it was Garbutt who, having faked, seeing that Parks didn't move, didn't panic, just looked up again, saw he had an opening and took the shot. Fake, no good on that one. Let's try this one. Over Parks' left shoulder. Parks dives down to his right. Exactly the wrong thing to do.
Okay, and the reaction from Terry Garbutt. The New York Cosmos and the Vancouver Whitecaps preparing for their 30-minute game. The decider between them. We'll be back with more soccer after this word from our local station. And there seems to be a good deal more to come. You know, I was talking to Steve Ross, the president of Warner Communication, at their first game this year. I said, what was the smallest crowd you ever had in the old days, which was only about 5 years ago at the little Randall's Island Stadium? He said, I don't know how big it was, but when the guy went to take the money to the bank the next morning, I said, why didn't you take it yesterday? It could be dangerous keeping the money. He said, no, Mr. Ross, it's only $86. That was just a few years ago. Now about 45,000 here today. There were 76,000 last Sunday. For the Soccer Bowl, it will almost certainly be filled next week. And it's a great story growing and a great sport. Well, they're coming back on the field now, and this guy will be telling his great-grandchildren, of course I was there, and I remember every minute of the classic confrontation between Vancouver and the Cosmos. Let's go down on the field to Vern Lundquist with the man who won it in the shootout for the Cosmos in the first game.
And Jim, I'm talking with Terry Garbutt, of course, and oh, it seemed you took so long.
I think that's the secret of it. A lot of players try to take it very, very quickly, and they usually take about 3 seconds, which means you've got half the time left in which to shoot. You know, if I take it very easily, then I can see what the keeper's going to do. I try and make him commit himself by dummying, and if he doesn't go, then he roots himself, and I can knock it in around the side of him. If he shoots off the left-hand post, then I might be in a bit of difficulty.
The point was made, Terry, that there might be some surprise that you were inserted in that critical fourth position, and yet you're 5 out of 6 in these penalty kicks, shootout kicks.
That's right, that's right. It seems to be my bag.
Well, I think you would say old friend Mold momentum is back on New York's side now.
I hope so. I hope to see us win. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but I hope we come out good.
Congratulations to you once again, Terry.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Jim.
Well, nobody ever told Terry Garbutt it would be easy, and it hasn't been in his long and very distinguished soccer career. We're ready now for another 30-minute game. Again, not sudden death this time. It's 15 minutes in each direction. If you've just tuned in looking for ABC's Wide World of Sports, don't worry. That'll be coming along when this is over. It'll be the Special Olympics today. But we have a remarkable spectacle going on here at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. A game for the National Conference Championship of the North American Soccer League between the New York Cosmos and the Vancouver Whitecaps. Vancouver had won last Wednesday night in Vancouver. This time, they went to a sudden death overtime. That didn't decide it. They went to a shootout, and the Cosmos finally won, going down almost as far as they could possibly have gone. Now it's a 30-minute game. Naskins is back in the game for the Cosmos, along with Dennis Stewart, two very key players.
Stewart with heavy bandages on both of his thighs now, left and right thigh.
Okay. It's 15 minutes in each direction. The booing is for the fact that the ball was passed back to the goalkeeper. It's that's automatic, like an intentional walk in baseball when the visiting team gives it out.
You have to boo that, yes.
Yeah. Okay, the Cosmos are in white.
Ricebergen, oh dear, Ricebergen.
Cosmos in white, that's Franz Beckenbauer for them, number 6. Ricky Davis, 17. Vancouver in the blue, of course, with the white pants.
With Ricebergen and Derek Posse getting in a bit of an altercation there. Ricebergen, as you can see, I think was hit by Derek Posse. I didn't see it too clearly, but...
Naskins with a nice move all by himself, heeling it really to himself. He knew that's what he was going to do. Still with the ball, can't find anybody, and it's taken away by Vancouver. And here come the Whitecaps. Alan Ball, key man in their lineup. Losing it to Beckenbauer. Two old rivals from World Cup days, Ball and Beckenbauer. Now Ricky Davis, the 20-year-old American, to Sininho, the 30-year-old Portuguese player. Still the fastest player on the field today. on one of his patented solo runs, but he goes over the end line.
I think he'll get a corner kick out of that. He must have won about half a dozen corners or maybe more. And if he's not showing signs of exhaustion, well, he's certainly entitled to it.
But he doesn't seem to be slowing down. That's the point.
No, these little bursts of speed that just take him past defenders almost as though they're standing still.
Now Rick Davis, one-time student at Santa Clara University at age 20, quickly becoming a veteran soccer star. Getting it into the middle.
Again,
by Stewart, save.
Again, you have to notice this Vancouver defensive pattern here. Parks in the middle of his goal, a fullback on each goalpost there. Very difficult to get the ball past them.
Ricebergen has left the field for the moment. He hasn't been taken out, but he can leave the field and then come back. We don't know what the problem is, but the Cosmos are playing with 10 at the moment rather than 11. Watch that.
Well,
see shots like that sometimes just get over the head.
Exactly, a save sort of in extremis there by Birkenmeier. He a little collision or whatever you want to call it that he had with Derek Posse, where it looked to me as though Posse had in fact struck him.
Okay, Cosmos with the ball. Now Bogicevic. Vern, what's the problem with Ricebergen, do you know?
Yes, he got his ankle kicked. They have retaped it. They've just concluded that, and he'll be back in here shortly, Jim.
All right, there is Canaglia in the middle. Canaglia again. Sanino moved it into him.
Sanino sort of moving into that Vancouver penalty area, just slicing through defenders, almost like a knife going through whatever it is knives go through there.
11 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in the first half of this mini game. Ricebergen coming back on the field now. Remember, if you're substituted for, you can't come back. But he wasn't substituted for. They just played with 10 until he returned, and that's perfectly legal. Vancouver in the blue. It's scoreless. 11 and a half minutes left in the first half. Up with the cider here. Sanino. Sanino again. Losing it to Craven.
That, of course, that taking the ball on the run. And now, Valentine, incidentally, on that cannot be offside because he started inside the 35-yard line.
35-yard line, a North American Soccer League innovation. You cannot be offside until you get to that white line across the field. Under 11 minutes now in the first half of this second game of the afternoon. It's a 30-minute game, not sudden death. Vallejo kicking it off Mourinho, so it'll be a throw-in for Vancouver. Yes, that's what we're going to see next week, the Soccer Bowl, the championship game. No home and home this time. It'll just be one game for the championship of the league between whoever wins here this afternoon and whoever wins tomorrow night in Tampa, Florida, between Tampa Bay and San Diego. Here comes Kevin Hector. All by himself. Birkenmeier coming out. Hit the post. Hit the far post. And Ricky Davis has it for the Cosmos.
Brilliantly taken shot by Kevin Hector. That all resulted from a bad mistake by Ricebergen out on the left touchline. He went for the ball. It went under his foot. Look at Kevin. He is so upset with that. Here he comes. Racing down the right wing. Ricebergen in pursuit, but he's not going to get him. And this beautiful, hard-taken shot that gets past Birkenmeier's right hand, all the way across the goal, hits the post and bounces out. Got a really, really hard luck there for Vancouver.
Now back live with Mourinho. Excuse me, that's Naskins. Cosmos with the ball. Now Vancouver taking over in the blue. No score here in this game. 9 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the first half. Naskins kicking it down to Bogey. Bogey heading it towards Canaglia, who wasn't really there. John Craven, captain of the Whitecaps, with the ball. Now Leonard Doozy, and back to the goal. It's been a long afternoon. We came on the air at 2 o'clock. The game started, I guess, at about 2:10. They've been at it, in other words, for just under 3 hours now of continuous soccer action. Except, of course, for the half times and the intermission. But no regular team timeouts in this game.
Now you got a fine view almost from the top of the stadium. There's this run. You can see that Hector is well clear of the defenders. That's a beautifully placed shot, but I mean, if that had hit the inside of the post, it must have gone into the goal. It just clipped the outside of the post and bounced out.
But now
terrible bad luck for Vancouver, but I suppose you can say a bit of good luck for the Cosmos.
Okay, but here comes Vancouver again. Craven being intercepted by Naskins, but Vancouver back again. Nobody's really got possession at the moment. Now it's Vancouver. Samuels over to Carl Valentine. Valentine going for Posse. Posse back the middle of the Valentine. Past him. Hector almost had a shot, but it was kicked away by Moraes. The ball still in very dangerous territory. Lobbed high in the air toward Birkenmeier, and he brings it down.
problems in the Cosmos defense, and it took an acrobatic. Certainly, I don't think Moraes had any idea where he was kicking that ball, except that he had to make sure it didn't go into the goal. Kicked it straight up in the air, in fact.
He was trying to kick it, was out of there.
Yeah, and out of there is what he very nearly did.
Okay, Boogie with the ball. Mr. Control over to Ricky Davis. The spirit of youth on the Cosmos. 20-year-old American to Riceberg, and the tough Dutchman, the policeman, to Bogey again. The ball control specialist. Back over to Marinho, who will defend for you or shoot for you. Of the two, he'd rather shoot. Free kick for the Cosmos. Foul called against Bob Beletho. Here is Marinho. 0-0. 7 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the first half of this 30-minute game.
Well, now all the people to give the ball to.
Sanino.
That was a very bad clearance there. Very bad indeed by Vancouver.
Coming up following the soccer today, ABC's Wide World of Sports with the Special Olympics. Something I know you're going to want to see. You'll be glad you have seen. Naiskins now trying to find someone in the middle, but it's kicked over the end line by Craven.
Again.
Canalio was just behind him.
Again, a lovely bit of soccer by Naiskins, taking his time, challenged by a defender right in front of him there, and I'm not sure who that defender was, but he waited and waited and waited, and he finally got him off bounce, got off a lovely curling center, which had to be kicked away for a corner.
There's no score. Under 7 minutes now in the first half of this game. Cosmos on the attack. Look out for Sanino. No, offside. Or was it a foul call?
No, I think that was an offside call, but I would really like to see that again to see just exactly who was offside and...
I think Sanino.
And how.
Yep. All right. When we have a moment, we'll try to take a look at it. But meanwhile, here comes Vancouver. Moraes all over Valentine, but they maintain possession. He's got Hector on the right side. Here's Hector. Offside.
That one,
offside.
That one was a... Let's see if we can spot the offside on this.
This was the previous one.
Comes across here. It's sort of lobbed up in the air there. Now there's nobody offside at that point. Canalio heads the ball.
You see, they apparently ruled Sanino was even with the defender, thereby offside. If you're even or past the defender, you must have, remember, two men, two defenders between you and the goal line.
From this angle, it is difficult to see, although that looked rather questionable to me.
Okay, live again. Throw in for the Cosmos. No score. 5 minutes, 55 seconds left in the first half of the second game of the day for these two teams. All right, here's Posse, who came in as a substitute late in the regular game. Bring it over to Willie Johnston. Johnston to Hector. And Marinho kicking it away. Well, he likes to shoot, but he is some defender also.
He's defended well. Now there, there's a lot of objects descending on the field there.
I don't know exactly why, because it was a throw-in for the home team.
Yeah, I think that at first, the crowd thought that the throw-in had been given to Vancouver, but it was clear that Mourinho bounced that ball off,
objects
off a
on
Vancouver
the field.
defender.
Objects on the field we don't need here. Plenty of excitement in the soccer game.
Look at Naiskins getting...
Bogicevic. Now Ricky Davis. Canalio, way out. In an unaccustomed position. Sanino. Here's Dennis Stewart back in the game with that slight injury. Sanino on the run again. Into the middle. Canalio's there. But no. It was Bob Beletho nudging Canalio out of the way and kicking the ball free.
A bouncing ball which Canalio found difficult to control. But again, how dangerous Sanino is, because when Stewart pushed the ball through with him, again he was behind his defender, but his sheer speed took him past him, clearly past him.
All right, here's the field general, Alan Ball for Vancouver. But it's Moraes there, not one of his teammates. Nelson Moraes.
Oh, Alan Ball had to delay there. If he'd pushed the ball through when he wanted to, he would have found Derek Posse in an offside position. He had to wait for Posse to run back. And by that time, of course, Moraes had been able to get back to cover.
All right, the rhythmic clapping from the home fans. They want something to happen. 4 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the first half of the second game. Here we have Beckenbauer again. He's got Stewart over here. He's also got Bogey. Bogey says, let me set it up for you. Well, he's got Sanino in the middle with Canalio now and with Naiskins. 3 men just inside the penalty area. Sanino comes out, gets it back to Beckenbauer, the Kaiser, the leader. Stewart now towards Bogey. Bogey back out to Sanino on a beautiful pass. Beautiful. Back into Bogey again. Back out to Stewart. There it goes across field to Naiskins, but too long. And it was offside anyway. So it'll be Vancouver's ball. Special Olympics, remember, on ABC's Wide World of Sports. That's for the handicap people immediately following the game. I was going to say youngsters, but some of them are older than that. And you'll be amazed how well they do their sport specialties. The boxing that was scheduled for today will be seen at a later date. The reason clear to see, the soccer is going longer than almost any soccer game that's ever been played. I don't know the statistics on that. But here comes Vancouver, but again, they will have played by the time they finish here a 90-minute game, a 15-minute game, and a 30-minute game. That's 135 minutes of actual playing time, not including the shootout they've had and the other shootout they may have. It's like 3 full halves of soccer, and 2 is plenty. Bolitho with the ball. Going down for Kevin Hector. Moraes is with him, or is he? Yes.
I think there's Moraes clearly has got to play Kevin Hector very tight. If he can, he's got to stop the ball getting to him, because on those through passes, I think Kevin Hector has the beating of Moraes for speed.
All right, 2.5 minutes remaining, and Naiskin's losing the ball. Okay, here comes Samuels now. Former Arsenal star in London. To Bolitho. Hasse. Bolitho. Looking for someone in the middle. Has he got him? Not this time.
Well, he got over a good cross, but Ricebergen was there, headed it out beautifully. And again, the Cosmos have room when they break here. They've got a lot of room in front of them.
Crowd urging on their Cosmos. Here comes Kanaya by himself. Ricebergen moving up to join him. The ball kicked away by Samuels. But, oh, Naiskin's heading it accidentally, I think. You don't head it that hard on purpose.
There's no flinching on Naiskin's part. I mean, I think most people might have attempted to get out of the way of that. He just threw his head at it.
The man who's had a separated shoulder within the last week, a serious groin injury, and a broken bone in his hand. What else do you want? He's still out there with 1 minute and 25 seconds. Looks like Stewart, he was coming to the sidelines. Whether he's coming out or not, we don't know. I think maybe his bandage may have come loose.
It's difficult, and it's a curious decision by the referee. He stopped play for that, and I don't know why, unless they're going to make a substitution. And it was really a rather bad time for the Cosmos to stop play, because Naiskins had broken free on the left wing, and he got called back.
Yeah, Liverich is going to come in, it looks like.
Oh, well, then, in that case, if they're going to make a substitution, the Cosmos have only themselves to blame for that one.
But Liverich has not come into the game yet. Maybe they're going to look at Stewart first, I suspect, before they officially substitute for him. There's 10 Cosmos on the field at the moment, but they're on the move, on the attack. Bogicevic, Bogi back to Ricebergen. Moraes is there with him, but Ricebergen decides to keep it, keeps the ball in play, out of bounds, and comes back for it. That's perfectly all right. That's legal. He has Sanino, but he decides not to go to him right now. He's got Canaglia in there. There's Giorgio almost getting clear, but Roger Kenyon kicking it over the end line.
Good run by Ricebergen down the right wing here, looking almost like an attacking midfielder rather than a stolidly defensive fullback.
All right, the unofficial clock shows 54 seconds. It's a corner kick for the Cosmos. No score in this first half of the second game, the one that's going to send one of these teams to next week's Soccer Bowl. 22 exhausted players out there. Oh, 21 at the moment. No, Liverich has come in now. Okay, here they are, Beckenbauer with the ball, trying a shot right at the goalie.
Another of these very crisp, very cleanly hit shots from Beckenbauer, done with so little effort, but getting a lot of power behind them. And a good, clean, solid save again by Phil Parks.
396 games with Bayern Munich, one of the top teams in the world when he was playing for them. European Cup champions.
You'll take a look at Beckenbauer's shot here. Got off the terrific speed on that shot, and Parks diving, bringing it down well, and holding on to it.
Unofficially, 20 seconds left in the first half of this game. Then there'll be another 15 minutes. Regardless, this is not sudden death once again. This is a 30-minute game. No matter how many goals. There's Naiskins. Over to Ricky Davis. Apparently under 10 seconds. That's the unofficial clock. A whistle and a free kick for Vancouver. There's no time showing. And is that it? I think that's it. The end of the first half of the 30-minute game, the so-called mini game to decide between Vancouver and the Cosmos for the Soccer Bowl. We'll be back.
Nobody can do it.
Oh boy, quarter pounder.
Like McDonald's can. Nobody else in this whole land. Nobody can do it like McDonald's can. No.
Nobody.
Action photography is easy with the Minolta XG1 35mm reflex.
Hi, I'm Christy Jenner. I just focus and touch this electronic button to give me great pictures automatically.
The XG loads easily, too. This signal shows me that the film is loaded properly, and the electronic self-timer lets us get into our own pictures.
Your Minolta dealer wants you to have this Play Better Soccer brochure. Free while supplies last. See your Minolta dealer.
5 mid-engine cars are sold in America. 4 of the world's most expensive cars, and the incomparable dynamic Fiat X19. Dynamic with its mid-engine roadability, its 1.5-liter power, its standard 5th gear. Incomparable, because there's nothing else like it in the world at anything like the price. And likely, there never will be.
Another half of soccer coming up. This half 15 minutes in length, not 45 minutes, because this is the second game of the afternoon. Coming up immediately following on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the Special Olympics, some very special athletes, and some celebrities. Muhammad Ali is going to be there, Phil Donahue, people like that. Let's go down to Vern on the sideline.
All right, Jim, I'm standing with a young man who tried to go in the second game after he had to come out of the first. Denny Tuart, I know you must be very disappointed.
Yeah, it was a gamble. We made a gamble on the mini game. You know, I'd slightly pulled a hamstring in the regular time game, and we hoped that with a little bit of ice and a little bit of ultrasound, you know, we could settle it down and maybe manage to last the 30-minute mini game. But unfortunately, I couldn't do anything quickly. I couldn't turn, I couldn't sprint, so it was unfair to go on.
Okay, Denny, thank you very much. Jim?
Thank you, Vern. Vancouver on the attack, moving from left to right. It's scoreless in this 30-minute game. If anyone scores, we'll still continue because it's not sudden death. But at the end of this 30 minutes, there'll be no more regular soccer. There will only be another shootout if they're still tied.
You have to wonder what Vancouver might be thinking about the prospects of another shootout, because they certainly didn't do very well in the first one.
Oh, well, there's Carl Valentine. He's not thinking about a shootout right now. He's on a solo run. He's breaking through all by himself. The shot hit the crossbar and is headed safely over by Beckenbauer.
Well, Vancouver, of course, are going to appeal for the goal. I think it's been given, too.
They gave him a goal?
I think they've given him a goal. The Cosmos are not going to like that.
They said the ball was across the goal line. Did it hit on the inside? How do you read that, Paul?
Well,
it hit the crossbar, obviously.
It came down and bounced and went up. Now, we had a classic, Alan Ball will know all about this, we had a classic case of this in the 1966 World Final when England's winning goal did exactly the same thing.
In other words, after it hit the crossbar, if it bounces down inside the goal line with the entire ball over the entire line, it's a goal.
It's a goal.
And apparently they have so ruled. Scoreboard doesn't show it, but obviously the Cosmos are very unhappy. Professor Julio Mazet down there.
Because that, of course, is a call that is very difficult to prove. Very difficult to prove indeed. I mean, I always maintained on that England goal that it couldn't possibly have been in, but I have seen since photographs and tapes which suggest that it could happen. I mean, it takes quite an effort for a ball to hit the underside of the bar, bounce down, and then bounce out of the goal.
Yes, had to have that kind of spin on it. There's the coach of Vancouver. He's not complaining as they take the lead 1-0. Oh, what a critical way this could be to decide it. Professor Mazet's out on the field. He's not allowed to be there.
Let's see what we can see of Carl Valentine's goal. He breaks clear. He's outpacing Reisberg, and now we may have had a good shot of this. This looks like a good angle. There it goes, and it's going to hit the underneath of the bar. It bounces down.
Just went out of the picture. Yeah. Just went out of the picture.
Quite see it there. We're as frustrated as the Cosmos are.
Yep. Really couldn't tell from that. Cosmos trailing, though, 1-0. There is their technical director, head coach, really.
Oh, apparently that goal has been disallowed after all that.
Now they're disallowing it. Vern, try to find out everything you possibly can. Was the goal given in the first place? Has the decision been changed? And if so, why?
We just had another angle in there. If we could freeze that as the ball bounces on the ground, we might get a clear shot as to whether that ball is over the line or not. That replay, I think, would show it. Phil Parks, the Vancouver goalkeeper, there's the coach, is way over into the Cosmos half of the field now. We're going to have to find out why the referee changed his mind on that.
Vern, have you been able to find out anything yet? Vern is talking to one of the linesmen. We'll stand by on that. He's got his headset off at the moment, but I see what he's doing. He's trying to get the word from the linesman. And now, you know, it may be that the linesman called it, then the referee overruled him. We don't know. Here is a freeze frame.
On that,
the ball on the right-hand side.
A little bit further and we might have it. Well, that's coming up again.
Let's take it forward again if we can.
Very questionable as to whether that ball is over the line from that angle.
Is the whole ball over the whole line? That's the question. I would say, if you had to guess, it did not look like it. It looked like it hit on the line, at least part of it.
Now, apparently the linesman has revised his decision on that.
All right. Hello, Vern. Have you found out anything yet? Vern running for his microphone. Boy, that sent him scurrying.
And of course,
he's got it now. Excuse me,
Jim, I'm
Paul.
here.
Yeah, what'd you find out?
Well, I just talked to the fourth official who said he did not know. And I said, but you're on the sideline to help us interpret what is going on. And I said, I don't want to approach the linesman. Would you please go and ask him if the goal was first allowed, then if it was disallowed, and if so, why? He is in the process of doing that right now, and I should know in about 20 seconds.
Okay, but the goal has been disallowed if it was allowed. It's still 0-0. 14 minutes, 5 seconds left in the game.
That's the only thing that's clear out of that little thing is that it's no goal. And again, one should point out that for it to be a goal, all of the ball has got to be over all that line. In other words, the ball can bounce over the line, but if any part of it is hanging over the line...
Here come the Cosmos on the attack. Kenyon picking it up for Vancouver. What's the word, Vern? What's the word, Vern?
Jim, the goal was disallowed because a goal kick was called. The ball was over the end line before the shot was taken.
That can't be. It hit the crossbar and came down and then went over the end line, headed over by Beckenbauer. But here comes Vancouver.
Whatever that call was, it certainly couldn't have been that.
No.
Because the ball was run in from midfield by Carl Valentine and shot from Carl Valentine. And it beat Berkemeyer and hit the underneath of the bar. There's no way it's going to be over the goal line before he gets into the goal.
No matter what, I hope we'll be able to have a word with the referee after this game is over to find out about that. That's the most critical thing that's perhaps happened in the league all year. So, still 0-0. We have 13 minutes, 10 seconds left in this game. Beckenbauer going down, falling on the ball. He gets a free kick, foul called on Pasi. Number 24. What a long afternoon. More than 3 hours of soccer here, and it's still not decided. Mark Liberich getting it in the middle. No, he was trying to shot, but was nowhere even close. We're going to try to look at that thing again.
You'll see Carl Valentine on the left of your screen there, bursting through the Cosmos defense, getting off this absolutely brilliant shot. If it is beautifully taken over Berkemeyer's, hits the bar, down it goes now. Is it over the line or not at that point?
Let it go forward.
That is all we want to know.
Let it go forward. There. Certainly looked like it was on the line.
Now, if it's on the line, it is not in, and it's not a goal.
What we don't know is if the linesman was overruled, did the referee overrule him, and why? Why didn't he overrule him right away? Linesman, interesting that linesman, well, just a minute. Here come the Cosmos. Here's Sanino. Down he goes.
Now
that's in the penalty area.
Or not. I think that's going to be called outside. I think that...
Yeah, it looked like it was in the penalty area when he was down, but they're calling it just out.
Fell in the penalty area, but I think the trip was just outside. Just outside, I think.
Interestingly, the linesman, we are told, who made the call originally was Peter H. Johnson. Now, the referee about whom the Cosmos complained in Vancouver the other night was Peter T. Johnson, no kin to Peter H. Still 0-0. 11 minutes, 49 seconds, a free kick for the Cosmos just outside the
is down
area.
on the field there after a rather crude tackle there from Lenarduzzi, but these two have been at it all afternoon. Lenarduzzi has shown that he can, or rather, Sanino has shown that he can beat Lenarduzzi, and Lenarduzzi on that occasion had to resort to a rather crude sort of trip to stop him.
So we have had no logical explanation for the reversal of the call. Whether the referee had made his final call or not. Remember, only the referee is in charge of the game.
He's the only one who's run again, outpacing everybody, and there's the, you can see the ball is already gone, and in fact Lenarduzzi wasn't even looking at him.
So that was certainly a good call by referee Toros Cabrician. Now the Cosmos, here's Ricky Davis getting it into Bogey. Bogey faking his man, trying a shot, missing. Play going on. Liberich.
Appeals there for handball from the Cosmos, disallowed by the referee. They felt a player handled that ball in the penalty area. They should have had a penalty kick.
Okay, Vern, what's the story from you? You have something?
Yeah, Jim, I just want to clarify what I got from the fourth official. He said the linesman, Peter Johnson, go ahead and take it up.
Just a minute. We have Lenarduzzi right here. Could be dangerous. We'll get right back to you. And now Kevin Hector with the ball. It looked like a little fake
I
on
think we'll
his
have
part
an indirect free kick in the area now.
All right, Vern, quickly.
The point is this, Jim, that the fourth official, who is here to assist us and other media people in terms of interpretations of rules, went and asked the linesman, did you allow a goal? He said no, he never allowed a goal, thus the call of goal kick.
So we don't know what the Cosmos were coming on about.
Exactly.
Oh, and in that case, I don't know what Vancouver were coming on about either, because they were celebrating, so they must have thought he allowed it.
Yeah. So what they're telling us now, as we understand it, is that nobody overruled anybody.
It never was
a goal was never allowed.
Yeah.
We'll find out for sure after the game, I suspect. There is Alan Ball, free kick for Vancouver, 0-0, 11 minutes left in this game, headed away by Moraes.
Moraes doing a rather silly thing there, jumping up and flashing his hands in the air there.
Kicked away again by Moraes. Now Canali all by himself, kicking it down towards Liverich, but no. In the way was John Craven, the captain of the Whitecaps. Now Baletho, the young Canadian, over to Leonard Ducey, another Canadian. Everyone on the field for Vancouver, either British or Canadian. The Cosmos, a blend of nationalities, including Rick Davis, the brilliant young American, and Liverich, another American on the field for them. We have Brazilians, West Germans, an Italian, Dutchman. All one team, and they're much more one team than they used to be. Look out there, Mr. Craven. That was Liverich going for the ball, and for a moment, Craven may not have seen him.
That's correct. This is Vancouver still adopting this very cool, methodical play. They're certainly calmer than the Cosmos at this point, but if all that's going to get them is another shootout, then I'm not sure that that's the right thing to do.
Derek Posse going for the ball in the corner. No score still in this game. Just under 10 minutes remaining in this second game of the day. Foul called on.
Well, you can tell who doesn't believe that call. That's Reisberger.
Look out, very quickly, it's Willie Johnson with the ball right at the goalkeeper. Again, one of those lightning thrusts that Vancouver has specialized in today.
Well, there must be a high kicking call on that. I think that's Kevin Hector again, isn't it? No, John Samuels. Senino running through there, and Kevin Hector, John Samuels lifting his foot far too high. Dangerous play call.
Of course, there's no rule against kicking high as far as that's concerned.
Only
it's kicking high when you're endangering another player.
When other players are in the area.
0-0, 9 minutes, 13 seconds left in the second game. The winner of this game to go to the soccer bowl next week. That should be quite a day on ABC. Johan Neeskens now with the ball. He's got Canalio in the middle. And now he loses possession, slipping on the turf, on the artificial turf. Here comes Valentine again. He's the one that crossed it into the middle for a goal that brought us all this long way. Valentine keeping the ball this time. A shot on goal that's tipped away by Birkenbauer.
Marvelous save by Beckenbauer. And again, if there's one player left on this field now who seems to have resources of energy, it's Carl Valentine. He's been very unlucky on 2 shots now.
A quick corner kick by Vancouver. They must think that the Cosmos are more tired than they are because they're trying to step up the pace with 8.5 minutes left in the second game. Still 0-0. The first game went to a shootout. The Cosmos won it 3-2. Vancouver had won last Wednesday, and that's why they came to this one. We have Senino limping now. That would be a bad sign for the Cosmos. He's been the fastest man all day. There he is. Looks like a little groin strain, perhaps.
Yeah, well, he's being treated on the field now. They've stopped play, and the trainer has come on the field.
The unofficial clock stopped at 8 minutes, 17 seconds.
Of course, the Cosmos can make 2 more substitutions in the game if they choose to. The substituting done in the first game has nothing to do with this game. We've started all over again.
Incidentally, Mourinho is also holding the inside of his thigh. He could have a little groin problem.
Yeah, well, he has a long-standing problem with his thigh, Mourinho.
Yeah. Well, the muscles of a human being, no matter how well honed and toned, begin to complain at a certain point. Let's have a look at this.
Familiar sight. Valentine coming in on goal again. And this shot, which is going across to now, that is definitely curving in, and it's Birkenmeier reaches across with his right hand rather than his left to push that ball away. Beautiful save.
Whoever goes to the soccer bowl will have played a heroic afternoon, and whoever doesn't will have played the same. They've gone as far as they can.
It looks to me as though we might have Mourinho out of the game here.
Probably be a break one way or another that will win it. Here's another look at that shot from our high camera.
The phantom goal, the goal that wasn't. There's the shot. It hits the bar there and down it goes. Now, is it over the line or not?
Didn't look like it.
Because it bounced up again, you see. It didn't bounce into the goal. It bounced up and clear of the line.
Quick report from the field at Vern Lundquist.
Jim, I just talked with the referee, Torres Cabrichin. I said, was there a goal called? Was the goal called and disallowed? He said, no. The linesman was not 100% sure. He did not call a goal. I said, you didn't have to overrule him then. He said, no, as long as the linesman was not 100% sure that the ball came down inside the line, there was no goal. I ruled goal kick. So he is saying now, Torres Cabrichin, that there never was a goal called. Back to you.
In other words, He may have given the signal for a goal, but when questioned if he was 100% sure, he said no.
I think that is exactly the point.
Okay, now we got to straighten out. It's still 0-0. 8 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the game. Garbutt and Vandoff in as substitutes now.
Yeah, Mourinho is definitely out of the game here.
Derek Posse with the ball. It'll be a free kick for Vancouver. Everybody getting up much slower than they did earlier in the day, and with good reason. Mourinho and Sanino have both come out. 2 dangerous scorers. There is a header by Willie Johnston. Boy, he's good at those. He scored a goal to tie it all up. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been nearly so long an afternoon. That's what sent it to the sudden death overtime and then to the shootout. Gone past 5:30 in the afternoon Eastern time. 3.5 hours we've been on the air. Almost 3.5 hours they've been playing soccer. Good thing somebody has a week to rest, including us. Bogicevic now. Bogi getting it over to Liberich. Liberich has Vandoff in back of him. For backup, there it is to Vandoff. Nope, didn't get it. Now back out to Terry Garbutt, who won the shootout. A shot for him, lofted over the goal. And they've called a corner kick. Must have touched the player on its way out there.
Yeah, it must have touched the player very early in his trajectory, because it went pretty high, and there's nobody that tall on the Vancouver team.
Centered by Bogicevic, knocked away. Garbutt going for it. Back to Bogi again. Rare for him, he loses possession.
Yeah, well, he likes close control. That time he ran onto it, pushed it ahead of him. He pushed it too far.
Okay, Vancouver with the ball now with 6.5 minutes left in this game. Boletho, number 10, the defender, kicking it down towards Ricky Davis, really, of the Cosmos, who takes it gratefully and starts to move it back upfield again. Franz Beckenbauer, Reisbergen, Nelson Moraes. They're going to run out of tactics here pretty soon. All you can do is hope after a while, isn't it?
I think that's right, Jim. Although if there are any tactics evident, I think you've got to say that they're coming from Vancouver, who are still being remarkably cool about the whole thing.
Okay, haven't lost their poise, that's for sure. And here come the Whitecaps on the attack. Posse is in the middle. There he is. Whoa! And the shot by Valentine.
Valentine again. But he had his shot when he first got the ball. His shot on goal was there, but he was quickly closed down by the Cosmos defenders, forced him out to the right and didn't give him any angle. He got off the shot, but I don't think he was ever going to get a clear shot on goal with that many defenders around him.
What a career Carl Valentine has ahead of him at age 21. Now here come the Cosmos one more time, headed away by Vancouver. Garbutt going for possession, getting it at age 33. This could be his last game. If the Cosmos lose, look out, Moraes. Nelson Moraes wasn't with the team at the beginning of the year. He's one of the closest friends of the great Pelé, born and raised in Santos, Brazil, team for which Pelé played, and he did. Davis now down towards Neeskens. Neeskens taking his time, getting control, nudging it back to Liberich. Liberich has Canalia in the middle, a very tired-looking Canalia, by the way, not moving much. Almost had. I think he may have been punched there.
I think he was. I think Kenyon took him there because Liberich again came in late and blindsided Kenyon. Kenyon was watching the ball. Liberich came in late. I don't know what the referee is calling here or who he's calling it on, but he's going to call something.
Yeah, and that was Neeskens protesting there.
Well, Neeskens got into the act late. The original scuffle
he's
was
writing down a name, but I didn't see any yellow cards.
I think it must be Neeskens. The original scuffle was between Liberich and Kenyon.
They're saying he's calling it for Neeskens' equipment. That's... Anyway, a yellow has been called, but here the game is going on. Here comes Liberich. Oh, boy, he got...
Liberich turned about 3 somersaults after he kicked that ball.
Didn't look like he could get to it.
No, he didn't, and he got it, and he nearly hooked it back into play.
Here we go, 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the game. Special Olympics on ABC's Wide World of Sports, immediately following the game with those remarkable young handicapped athletes and a lot of stars on hand to watch them participate and to compete. Beckenbauer, number 6, with the ball. Davis. And kicked away by Vancouver.
A lot of passes going astray now, Jim, from both sides.
Under 4 minutes in the game. The whole season hanging in the balance, so you have to find some more reserves of energy. from a place where they don't seem to exist. And another throw-in called. Bogey shouting in Yugoslavian.
Yeah, well, I think that was Yugoslavian for. Couldn't you see I was pushed?
Well, let's see. Referee Kabrichian is of what? Possibly Armenian descent.
Armenian.
He's an American, however. One of the 7 Americans designated by our soccer federation as a World Soccer Federation referee. FIFA, it's called, with that group. It's an honor to be one of those. Okay, Alan Ball throwing it in. And what's the foul? The foul against Vancouver.
Foul was against Posse.
Here come the Cosmos.
Elbowing Bandov.
Here comes Franz Beckenbauer, still looking as cool and collected as ever. Nudging it forward to Neeskens. Neeskens into the middle, getting it back again in the give and go. A rather leisurely give and go. He's got Bandov right near him. He's got Liverich just inside the penalty area. And of course, Canaglia is always in the penalty area.
Liverich.
Off Bolito. Here's Canaglia with the ball. Here comes Beckenbauer. And let's see if it'll be a corner kick or a foul.
I think it'll be a corner kick.
Corner kick. Phil Parks helping Beckenbauer to his feet, but kind of jerking him to his feet, really.
Beckenbauer playing with his socks rolled down, looking slightly less elegant than he usually does.
And they have not called a corner kick. They said that Beckenbauer knocked it over the end line, so it's a goal kick. Well, Vancouver putting it in play.
Take a look at Beckenbauer closing in on Parks. Parks goes down. Beckenbauer pushes the ball away. Now the question is, could Beckenbauer jump to avoid Parks, or did he deliberately sort of half-trip over him to try and draw a penalty? The referee decided the latter, so it was a goal kick to Vancouver.
And it is now ancient history, because here come the Cosmos again. And again it's Beckenbauer with 2 minutes left in this game. Franz trying to set it up. He's got Canaglia in the middle. Liverich on this side. There's Mark with the ball. Mark Liverich back to Beckenbauer. Beautiful pass by Beckenbauer. The ball's still in trouble. It's a goal! It's a goal!
I don't think the referee has allowed that.
No. The goal was scored, but not to be allowed.
Well, Liverich absolutely bulled his way through. It was, I think the referee is called pushing on Liverich.
So it was not an offside.
No, I think it was pushing on Liverich. He just sort of charged into everybody and pushed his way through, determined to get that ball. This was a pass that Liverich got from Beckenbauer. He goes in. I think he's a judge there to have pushed that defender.
Okay, it was a fairly marginal call, but that is the call, and it's no goal.
I think I would go with the referee on that one. That looked like a pretty obvious push from Liverich.
Okay. There are now 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in the game. If there's no score, we'll go to the shootout, and that will decide which team goes to the soccer bowl. Well over 3.5 hours now of North American Soccer League action. Just the one more game remaining next Saturday, live at 2 o'clock Eastern Time and live all over the country. That also includes then 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Hope you'll be with us. Vancouver with the ball in the blue. Shadows 2/3 of the way across the field now. We move towards the evening here in the east. Feels pleasant up here in the booth, but how hot and tiring it must be down there. Neeskens quickly nudging it to Bogey. Bogey to Beckenbauer. Into Canaglia. Canaglia to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer was leaving it for Garbutt. Down goes Terry. Couldn't quite get to it. Kicked away by Samuels for Vancouver. It looks like a throw-in for the Cosmos. Yep. A long throw-in to the middle to Bogey. Back towards Neeskens. Down goes Neeskens. Play goes on. Referee calling the advantage rule, I think. And kicked over the top by Boris Bandov. The advantage rule is if you're fouled, but the referee decided to be more to your disadvantage, to stop the game, he lets it go on. Now he's called time.
No, time's run out, Jim.
That's it. That's it. Yep. Official time running out. So the second game is over, and it's going to be another shootout.
A lot of players limping off the field here. That's Garbutt limping off the field there.
Terry Garbutt limping.
Well, that could be bad news if he can't take his shootout shot, of course.
He's the man who won the first shootout of the day. Remember what we've had. Even if you've been with us all the way, you may have forgotten. This was a game in which the first game, the Cosmos took the lead, were tied up, took the lead, were tied up again. There's Julio Mazet, their coach. Sudden death decided nothing. The shootout did. They've had another 30-minute game, and now here comes the other shootout.
Now, the trick is, in just 3 moves, to get the light bottle caps all together, moving 2 each time. Once, twice, 3.
What? That's easy.
Hey, I can put away a lot of beer by the time they figure this one out. That's why I'm drinking light beer from Miller. Not only does light taste great, but it's got 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. And it's less filling.
Hey, what's going on here?
Okay, once more. 1, 2, 3.
What? That's easy. Let me...
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
September 4th.
Dr. Cardiac arrest.
MacArthur St. Clair is a doctor fighting to save lives.
That's unnecessary surgery.
And the life of a hospital.
If you go ahead with it, you'll never practice medicine anywhere.
Joe Hamill is a hard-nosed reporter.
I got nothing to say to you.
Out to uncover a story.
You gutless wonder, you owe me 30 seconds.
If they fight each other enough, they might beat the system. A special movie preview of the new fall series, The Lazarus Syndrome.
That's Giorgio Canaglia, probably tired as he's ever been in his long and illustrious soccer career. Getting ready for the shootout that will decide it between Vancouver and New York. Here's a look at the controversial almost goal for Vancouver.
This is a shot by Carl Valentine, which he gets off right there. Now, Berkemeyer, the goalkeeper, he goes over him. You're going to see it hit against the underneath of the crossbar. There he goes, and it bounces down. Is it on the line? Is it over the line? Because it bounces up and out of the goal. We thought at first, and the referee's actions certainly looked like it, as though a goal had been forced. But in fact, there was no goal on that at all. Now, where is that ball? Is that on the line or is it over it?
Certainly, I wouldn't say that all of the ball is entirely over all of the line, and that's what it has to be.
Yes, it's got to be clearly over the line. You should almost be able to see daylight between the ball and the line.
It's like those old movie shorts. Follow the bouncing ball. Okay, now here's a look at the one that the Cosmos almost scored, Mark Liverich.
This was Mark Liverich. He gave the ball to Beckenbauer. He got it back from Beckenbauer. As he ran for the ball there, you can see Balaitho is in front of him, and he pushes Balaitho out of the way there, knocks him down. The ball goes past. Liverich continues to run, puts it into the net, but the referee disallowed it with that push on the first play.
Here comes the shootout. Shooting first for the visiting team. Vancouver will be Bob Lenarduzzi, age 23. Born and raised in Vancouver, British Columbia, the team for which he now plays. He has 5 seconds to shoot. The goalie can come out. Each can do whatever he wants. Here comes the shot, and it's good. Off goalie Berkemeyer. Vancouver takes the lead. 5 men for each team. Last time, Vancouver also took the lead. The Cosmos finally won it.
Lenarduzzi, in fact, was the only Vancouver player who scored in the first shootout. As you can see, that does hit Berkemeyer on his right knee, but it spins up and then it comes down and goes into the goal. Scoring the first goal in the shootout is very important. The pressure is now on the Cosmos.
As we said, however, it was in the first shootout. Naskins now trying to tie it up in what you might call the first inning or the first round of the shootout. The countdown clock you see in the corner with the big 5 on it. It goes from 5 to 0. Here comes Naskins, the great Dutch international star. Takes his man out and scores. It's all tied, 1-1.
Another beautifully taken shot by Naskins. I'd like how much of the time he used up on that. He's running the ball forward. Phil Parks, of course, racing out to meet him while all this is going on. Then he fakes. Now Parks has committed himself and he's dead at that point against a player of Naskins' capability.
Well, one young Canadian has scored for Vancouver. Now here comes another one, Bob Balaitho, also Canadian, number 10. Balaitho 1 for 4 in shootouts so far this year. This is the second inning now. It's tied at 1-1. He can give Vancouver the advantage again. The entire season right here in this shootout. Berkemeyer blocks it, and it's no good.
Well, that's exactly what Berkemeyer did on the first one. This time he got a little bit more of the ball and it spun wide.
And now, who do you think? The General, the Kaiser. Beckenbauer will be coming up, and here's another look.
Almost from Balaitho's point of view. Here's the goalkeeper charging out to meet him, trying to cut down that angle. He takes
Here comes Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer against the goalie, against Parks. Shooting, missing, missing! And so the Cosmos missed their chance to take the lead. One of the most experienced and talented and poised players in the world missed the shot. 1-1.
Well, again, Parks seemed to play that very coolly. He came out and he just stopped, almost as though he was going to watch what Beckenbauer could do. And Beckenbauer tried to push it past Parks' right hand, but got it wide of the goal as well.
Experience has failed there. Can youth, in the person of Carl Valentine, age 21, give Vancouver the lead again? The clock is running down to 4, 3, 2, 1. And they've taken the lead. The Cosmos are on the verge of extinction. Vancouver on the verge of going into its first soccer bowl, but it isn't over. No, no. Not by a long shot. They've just taken the lead. Here's another look at it. It's going to be Terry Garbutt.
Shot a beautifully taken shot here, as you can see, coming in about a couple of feet inside the post, exactly where he'd want to get it. Very difficult for the goalkeeper to get to that one.
Garbutt won the shootout earlier today for them. Can he do it again? He was limping when the game ended. Fakes his man. He's done it again! He's tied it up! Terry Garbutt, age 33, playing his last season almost certainly. Wants to end it in the soccer bowl next week.
Well, again, you've got to remember what Garbutt told us about this business of time. You've got more time than you think. He's got time to fake. He gets Parks in all sorts of problems there, and by the time Garbutt comes to take his shot, Parks is really out of the play. He's just faked him out of the play.
Round 4 now. Derek Passe, smallest man on the team, 5 feet 5 inches tall. Here he comes against the goalie, and he scored. He's taken the lead again. The Cosmos almost as far as they can go. Vancouver again on the verge of something they've never done, going to the soccer bowl.
The answer to this one is that there is no way you can stop this. He chipped the ball over Birkenmeier. Birkenmeier comes out with all that space above and behind him. If you can chip the ball, you must score on this if you can get it on goal. And that's exactly what Passe did.
The 20-year-old American Ricky Davis misses. Okay, now we've come as far as we can. If Vancouver scores, it's all over. If they don't score, the Cosmos will have one more chance to tie it up and force it further yet into a sudden death shootout. Here's Alan Ball, the man who was instrumental in England winning the World Cup in 1966. In the twilight of his career now, but a great one, and he was very, very important for Vancouver after they got him from Philadelphia this year. If he makes this, it's all over. Here comes the goalie. No, he's blocked it. The Cosmos have the final chance of the season. The league season started late last March, and now it's come this far.
Alan Ball taking a little bit too much time here, trying to push the ball wide of Birkenmeier. There he goes with the outside of his right foot, trying to push it round him. Birkenmeier got across there quickly enough.
And now Nelson Moraes must try to tie it up. It's their only chance, their last chance. Goalie Phil Parks, best in the league. Moraes, a veteran who joined the team in mid-season this year. He'd been with them before. A Brazilian. Remember, 5 seconds on that clock in the corner. It goes from 5 to 0, and then the season may be over. The goalie moving out. That's Parks. He says, what's going on?
They're having trouble.
Why are we doing it? The clock is a little screwed up.
Making the ball stand still.
Yeah, also the clock went to 8 and then to 4 or something, but now it's all set again. And the flag drops. It's in play. Here comes Moraes. Will he do it?
No, I think...
Was the timeout or not?
No, I don't think he got the shot off in time.
No, it's no good. Vancouver has won. They'll go to the soccer bowl next week against either Tampa Bay or San Diego. And a deathly silence almost descends over the crowd here in Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. The mighty Cosmos have been defeated. It couldn't have taken longer. It couldn't have been more difficult. But this team has done it with poise and determination, with a kind of cool that was really remarkable. They never panicked. Not when they were down 1-0 or 2-1 late in the first game here today. Not when they lost the shootout and were forced to the other game. Here was the last chance for the Cosmos in 1979.
Well, Moraes did what he wanted to do. He got it past Parks, but he pushed it too far. Now that is hit too hard. He can't catch up with it in time. By the time he gets off that shot there, the 5 seconds have run out, even though he does score on it.
And the Cosmos didn't even argue about it. It wasn't even that close. He was probably a full second over. Another look at Moraes. Whew, boy, almost 4 hours of it. And what an interesting afternoon it's been. Here he is, moving past the goalie. If he could have gotten to the ball then, he had a clear shot.
Well, he did, too late. I say, he did exactly what he wanted to do, but with the outside of his right foot, well, there's Vancouver getting...
I would regret to say that the Cosmos fans are booing the victorious Whitecaps.
I think there's a lot of
They're
applause
frustrated,
going on
of course.
as well.
Yeah.
People are standing and applauding here, which is nice to see. And of course, now a lot of these people are going to be back for Soccer Bowl next week, and they're going to see Vancouver play.
Okay, Derek Passe up on the shoulders of goalie Phil Parks. Alan Ball, number 23 there, who was so instrumental in the victory, playing in the midfield. Ray Lewington, number 2. Samuels, number 8, was a substitute. And Phil Parks being congratulated for another tremendous afternoon in goal for his Vancouver Whitecaps. So it'll be on the Cosmos home field next week, but it won't be the Cosmos. Vancouver again against either San Diego or Tampa Bay. They play tomorrow night in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the team that must win 2 games this time. Watch the clock. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Boy, it was only a half a second,
wasn't it? 5 seconds is really quite a long time.
It certainly is. Just by a half a second, you might say, the Cosmos season has ended. Congratulations to the Vancouver Whitecaps. They did the job today. Again, the final score, well, it was a shootout. 1-0 in the second game of the day. The first one went 3-2 for the Cosmos. Stay tuned for ABC's Wide World of Sports, today featuring the Special Olympics. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines.